I'm just getting a little last minute changes in. Hello. Alright. Let's see. Alright. Let's do copyright free motivational music, maybe? Yes, there you go. Motivational game music. Let's do that. Gaming music, no copyright. Sorry. Oh, I guess we could do that. Who knows? I'll be surprised. Alright.
Creating your first video? You should start with the music. Go to artlist.io and get high quality music and sound effects for any type of video you want to create. For example, let's make it intense.
Alright. Welcome. Alright, so this is a thing I've done once before. But I showed the results of past research. This time I'm just going to research live right now. So, we're going to learn an answer to a question that was posed like a few weeks ago, I think. And that's that whether or not streaming is a hard job. I've done a little bit of research beforehand, and we're gonna work through that, and then we're going to continue on from there, okay? If that sounds good to you, then let's go. Because there's still quite a few unanswered questions, I think. Alright, so first off, I don't know what happened. I don't think I clicked on anything. Why did I leave the playlist? I don't. Alright, there you go. Anyways, let's see. Let's see. What do I search to get that? Okay, this is already off to a great start. Alright. Talks about streaming. Let's see. Or actually, I can just go to Twitter for that, can't I? It's been posted all over Twitter. I'm kind of looking for the footage here. Let's see. I hope it wasn't. Oh, it probably was. I don't know. Oh no. 'Cause I know. I was almost there. I wonder if it'll. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's gonna have to do. Alright. 1 second. Wait, why do I still have that? Alright, anyways. Properties. This. There we go. Oh, God, that was a dangerous game. I should have made sure the comments were all PG. Alright. But luckily they are, so yay. Alright. Because there is no comments. Woo! Alright. Except for the main one being, there's no way. There is no way Hasanobi thinks that streaming is harder than a 9 to 5. Yep, we are playing some cold tea. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually, Pa. Alright. Woo! Alright.
A real job can be gruesome. Yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired. But a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will. So, yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make...
Now, like, here's the thing. This clip was... This was absolutely clipped out of context, as I've come to understand. This was out of context. What he's saying, he's not saying that it's harder than a 9 to 5. What he's saying is that, that you're gay, that he loves dick, that he sucks and he swallows. What he's saying is that, when after streaming, he streams for like hours. He streams like 10 hours a day, at least, give or take. And what he's saying is that after streaming, he's just like socially dead. Like he's been talking for like 9 hours, right? So like after streaming, he like doesn't want to speak ever again type of vibe, you know? So, that's what he's saying. It's like, you know, it's like giving a 9-hour presentation. Like, if you had to give a presentation, a full-on presentation, for 9 hours straight, you probably wouldn't want to speak ever again. And, but... And it's like in the same breath as when a lot of people who work remotely can attest to, which is that when they work on their computer, they're staring at the screen for like 8 hours. So when they come home, they don't like want to stare at the screen for the rest of the day. Imagine that, but speaking, and that's what he's actually saying. But people have taken it on to, and clipped it out of context to make it seem like he's saying that his job is harder than a 9 to 5. Which is not a good thing to do at all. Yeah, it's not a good thing to do in the slightest. But even, like, but let's entertain for a moment. But we're here today is to entertain the moment for a moment, to be like, even if he did have the audacity to say, that his job is harder than yours, would that be valid? And like and the point is, like, I'm really clarifying here, that's not what he said at all. It was clipped out of context. as people tend to do with Hassan. He gets clipped. He seems to have haters that clip him out of context quite frequently. But what we're here today is to answer the question, even if that was what he was saying, so what? So what? And that's what we're answering today. If that's what he was saying, would that be valid? So here we go. One second. So I'm gonna minimize this for a second, and I'm actually going to open up a notepad. I'm taking a page off of that marketing guy's book. Whose name I'm completely spacing on at the moment, which sucks ass. Let's see. Okay. Let's bring this back. Alright. Hey, bear with me. Alright. So, let's start from, like, the very beginning here. I think that's good. I think that would be good. So, what makes a job difficult? So I think a good thing to answer with is maybe the work environment. Yeah, so like maybe the employees are mean. Maybe the employees kind of suck. Your boss is mean, so like maybe an asshole boss. And what else? Asshole customers. And I think that's about it as far as work environment goes, or maybe like too short of breaks. Let's see. Too short of breaks. You get punished for like not working. Well, like you get punished for taking a break. Let's see, employees suck, asshole boss, there's your breaks. Like, I want to say things like, you know, you can't just leave if something happens with your family and shit, but that falls in line with asshole boss. So I think we're good there. I think we're good. Now, bad pay? Or, yeah, let's say, like, yeah, really bad pay. And what that means is basically a non-livable wage. Let's see. Unpaid overtime. Let's see, bad maternity leave and things like that. Bad. I would think, like, there's bad, like, benefits. Like, such, like, health insurance. Let's see. No, another way could be that the job itself is hard. So maybe the job is inherently dangerous or deadly? The job is pretty much unforgiving in its mistakes. Like, if you're a doctor, then that would fall in line with that, because, like, if you make a mistake, your patient could, you know, die. Forgiving in its mistakes. Yep. Second. Let's go and do that. So the job is, okay, so it's unforgiving in its mistakes. It requires highly skilled workers for a specific task. Things like that. Alright. So, we have bad work environment, really bad pay, the job itself is hard. And I think that's pretty, I think we're good there. So, now then, we have so, does Twitch have any of these things, like Twitch and Similar? Does Twitch and Similar have, alright, let's get some music on it. I never notice when there's no music, so I'm sorry. Alright, let's see. Let's do the reverb. Reverb bead. Flute music, where's reverb? Or actually, let's do funky. Or, where's that 80s Japanese song? There we go. Let's do that.
The future of your business is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities.
There we go. Now we're talking.
いろんなことを知りなさい。いろんな
Now then,
人を
have
そう
these
すれば悩み
difficulties?
迷いもなくなる誰かの声が迷い
Alright, so, bad work environment.
そんな日々になってしまうなら何もかも知りたくない
So, do they have shitty coworkers?
心を閉じてるそれもいいね好き勝手にできる悪く言えばまだ子供さ
I
誰
probably
か
can't do that very empirically, but I have
どこか子供
I have heard
痛いない
stories. There are stories like that constantly.
心を閉じても開いてもいないよ
Where a big streamer blows up. The streamer blows up. They're big now. They're all famous now. And a bunch of people collaborate with them, right? And then it's really cool and amazing. However, when things start calming down as far as their virality goes, so they're not as big as they used to be, people stop responding to their collaboration requests. People stop responding to them in general. Yeah, people don't ask to collaborate with them, and then essentially, like, their friendship with a lot of these streamers lasts about as long as you are viral. That tends to be, or if you consistently have large numbers. So I would say yes, in the sense that they're social climbers. A lot of them are social climbers, not all of them. But too many of them, it seems like it's a very common story. Slut. So yeah, there's a lot of social climbing where your friendship lasts for as long as your numbers are big, right? And that's really shit. I would say that's pretty shit. And of course, there's like, there are problematic people. So like, there have been stories of like people like hurting each other, and I don't like wasn't there a recent lawsuit about Mr. Beast, actually? Maybe that's it. Yeah, there was a recent lawsuit about Mr. Beast, wasn't there? Because he didn't treat the people he worked with very well in the moment. Allegedly, of course. Let's see, Mr. Beast lawsuit? Lawsuit, these nuts. That's a different lawsuit, unfortunately. Mr. Beast 100 million. He had a 100 million suit against Beast Burger? I did not know that. Let's see. Beast Burger. Oh, I gotta look into that later. Hold on. I didn't know he even sold burgers. Hold on. Where do I look? Hold on. Injury. I paid a real assassin to try to kill. Wait, what? Oh my, he's wild, I have to say. Alright. One viral, I swear there was, hold on. I swear somebody came out and said that, like, he got injured and stuff. Oh, maybe Moist Critical touched on that. Maybe I can find it through his channel. That's probably where I heard about it from, Mr. Beast. Let's talk about Beast drama. I'm feeling gaslit right now. I'm feeling a little gaslit right now. Mr. Beast. I swear it happened. Mr. Beast injury. Let's see. Was it Chandler? A guy named Chandler? Or someone named Chandler? Oh, it was like a crane, wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't Mr. Beast, it was David Dobrik. It was, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Shit. That seemed like something Mr. Beast would do if I'm, you know, in my defense, okay? Alright, no wonder I couldn't find it. Alright. So, it was a guy named David Dobrik, okay. Probably shouldn't, hold on. David Dobrik lawsuit. Let's do H3.
Oh, hey! I was just going for a drive, which is wild because up until very...
So this is really...
Alright. Now let's bring this back up. There you go. Again, I need to make sure nothing is... I'm doing a terrible job at that. Alright. Truly, truly. Alright. Okay. There we go. Let's do it like this, actually. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. I found out about this from the subreddit. Somebody there really got Hawkeyes because I hadn't seen about this anywhere. State Farm is suing David over Jeff's accident. Here it is.
I said no pickles.
This was, I guess, published 2 months ago. And we had to get the filing. Actually, my lawyer was kind, and he went and got the filing and then kind of even broke it down for me. Because I couldn't tell if this was something
Did he charge
interesting.
you $5,000 for that?
Nah, nah.
Oh, okay.
He charged me that for other shit. He actually, I don't know. He may have. I don't know. He may have. You never know. I couldn't tell if this was interesting or not because it's like, okay, insurance companies sue people all the time. It could just be a non-bullshit. But it turns out I don't think it is a non-nothing. So here's what happened. David has an umbrella policy with State Farm Insurance. An umbrella policy is something I wish I had, but can never ever get
State Farm.
because I'm too big of a liability. But basically what it is like an all-encompassing insurance plan that covers basically anything that happens. Defamation, copyright infringement, I think is one. It's just umbrella. It's got it all. And it's, I guess, pretty common for public figures to take out umbrella policy like this. Now, I wish I had knew that before I started getting sued a bunch.
Now it's too late.
But now it is too late.
Does it ever fall off your record, in 10 years if you stay out of lawsuits? Do you think you could get one?
Probably.
Or is it just for life?
Probably.
Ha ha, your
But
life
at
is
the
ruined.
same time,
Ha ha. Ha ha.
I can definitely understand them not wanting to insure me. They're like, why would I do that?
Yeah. What's in it for us?
Yeah. So all we know is State Farm is suing David Dobrik.
I didn't know
Here's
you
what
could
happened.
take out a policy
So yeah,
like
David has
that.
the umbrella policy. And so when it came time to pay for Jeff's medical and the settlement apparently from this lawsuit that Jeff has enacted against David, David went to his insurance company, State Farm, and said, yo, umbrella insurance got to cover this. And they did. They paid out an undisclosed amount of money. And I do wonder, I feel like it had to be 7 figures for them to come after him like this.
I mean, yeah, because he had like 20 surgeries on his eye, so I'm sure it all added up.
That's got it, dude. That's a lot of guacamole. Yeah. And then the settlement, I don't know what was in that, either.
Right, right.
So the story is State Farm Insurance filed a complaint for declaratory relief.
Oh.
The complaint arises
Hello,
from an insurance
Motown.
dispute related to a personal injury filed against Jeffrey Wittick. They say that they issued a home owner's insurance policy and a personal liability umbrella. The policies were active during the time of the alleged incident. Jeffrey Wittick filed a lawsuit against David Dobrik, alleging negligence resulting in injury. The incident involved an excavator at Utah Lake where Wittick was injured after being swung from the excavator.
I got my LTS.
The insurance claimed that David Dobrik and his
Welcome to the
LLC
club, my
tendered their
friend.
defense to State Farm under the mentioned policies. State Farm provided a defense under reservation of rights. State Farm contends that the policies did not cover the incident due to exclusions related to business pursuits and potential workers' compensation eligibility. He was just a dude, though. Wasn't workers' comp for employees?
Is he not considered an employee of?
I don't think David ever paid any of them.
Well, that's
Maybe there's some stuff they had to sign because of all the stunts they were doing. Like maybe they were under his company when they were doing some of these stunts. I don't know.
if David made him sign something and didn't have a safety officer there,
Right.
that's crazy. But anyway, they say it was not covered under the umbrella policy. Not just the workers' comp thing, but they also say related to business activities, whatever that means. They're seeking to be reimbursed. They're not.
This is how AI optimizes my schedule. So I have a project coming up, so I start by listing the project and then setting a deadline. Every task manager does that, but here's where it gets
Obligated to pay David Dobrik, defendant liability, damage, judgment, settlements, or punitive damage at all that arise from the lawsuit, and they want
But
their
I saw
money
a
back.
video, old one on it, Oliver Saxon Shades. He acted
State
very
Farm has
silly
requested the
fooling
court
around,
to
and I have
declare that both
same
the homeowners
tendency.
and
Yeah,
personal liability
it's-
umbrella
you
policies
can
do not
catch
provide
things
coverage
like
for
that
the
as a
incident,
tick.
and that State Farm
I
is not
think.
obligated to defend or
I'm pretty sure,
indemnify
yeah.
the defendant in the underlying lawsuit. So this is pretty juicy in that
You're gay.
David might be losing some serious figures.
Yeah, if
here
you see
to
people
State Farm
doing silly
Insurance.
things, then
This
you
is very interesting. I wonder
then
how
you
this is
cannot
going to
catch
play
that
out.
as
you know?
a tick. Of course, it's
see the
not
State
like a
Farm rep?
consistent thing. You can see the same thing like a
No.
1,000 times and not catch it as a tick. But like,
Oh shit!
if
Oh no, they sent.
if you do see
They sent the
something
wolf?
and then you start doing it involuntarily, then
Cody.
Like a good neighbor, I'll be there in
Yep.
your good neighborhood. Cody from
wait for the
State
wolf.
Farm. Oh,
You send in the
fuck.
wolf
Oh no.
and wait for the wolf, who should be coming directly.
Although that being said, I mean, insurance companies are scumbags too. So
Yeah.
it could be, frankly, that it should be covered by his umbrella policy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think they're both scumbags, and so I think
bitches.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Pussy.
But yeah, pretty interesting, huh?
So is Jeff is Jeff liable for anything?
No.
I mean, according to this lawsuit. Okay.
No,
That's good.
not at all.
That's good.
Yeah, it's all
You
against
send in the wolf?
Dobrik personally. Isn't that
Do you
great?
fuck with the war?
Like that's fucked. He's got to pay back State Farm, dude.
Uh-oh.
I get the feeling he's making more money now than he ever did with that Snapchat shit.
100%.
Uh,
I definitely think so.
I mean,
It's nuts,
I think
bro.
he's making good money, but I mean, he had Robert Downey Jr. in his stuff. He had Leonardo DiCaprio, Chipotle. It was.
That's true. At
Yeah.
his heyday was pretty nuts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, David could. None of this would be happening if he just fucking took care of him. He's being sued by an insurance company, State Farm. These guys are like juggernauts, man. They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
They
I
sue
bet.
people. That's just what they do on a daily basis. That's like their whole business.
Yeah.
So he summoned the devil.
Yeah.
They coming.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm.
They coming from Dobrik's, the pizza spot. Or Dobrik's.
Yeah. I'm interested to learn more about this Snapchat stuff because it's kind of interesting the way they have clickbait and everything. I've noticed with like him.
But yeah, okay, so from this video, you can see that there have been streamers and coworkers in general, content creators. I guess I'm not sure if David Dobrik is a streamer, but content creators like YouTubers and streamers, they do have coworkers who allegedly aren't above being negligible, especially when doing stunts like that. Especially when doing stunts like that, where safety would be especially important, and then they just like cut costs and shit. It's not great. Basically, what I'm very poorly explaining here is the content creator space does have coworkers who have put people in danger. But like, if we're doing streaming specifically, it just occurred to me And yeah, the one thing is, one thing is when people ask me questions, I can get TS and brain stops cannot answer. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's yeah, so you could get Tourette's and brain stops and you can't answer. Yeah, I have trouble answering questions with Tourette's. It's like, well, for a start, my, Tourette's interrupts my speech quite frequently. Bitch, like that, and it sucks because it makes it difficult for me to remember what I'm saying. It's like trying to remember a phone number when people are shouting numbers at you. And yeah, it can be quite difficult. Yeah. But I digress. But yeah. As far as streaming goes, I just remembered if we need like poor coworker behavior, do we really need to look any further than Sneeko versus Moist Critical? Let's see. You talk to that's like an hour long though. Let's do this one.
If you've been waiting for a sign to try Ready Mag, this is it. This is your sign. Your sign to start creating juicy.
Hey Sneeko, does this outfit look familiar? This is the same thing I wore last time I took you over my knee and spanked your bottom with some discipline.
Oh, okay, hold on. I didn't want to talk about this. So I guess we just need to...
I mean it when I say I didn't really want to talk about today's topic. It's just some...
Drinking makes you worse after a day or two? That's... Yeah, I find that, I found that my takes have lowered with that, but I'm not surprised that it can make it higher in others. But for the most part, yeah, I think for the most part, Tourette's has my ticks have lowered, when I drink. But I'm not surprised that it does the opposite for other people. I'm not surprised at all. People forget that Tourette's is like every disability is in one way or another a spectrum of sorts. So just because it affects me one way doesn't mean it's going to affect another person with Tourette's the same way. Like, it's still valid. What makes my Tourette's worse is coffee. Emotional aspects like anxiety. When I get really sad, that lowers my tics, which is really interesting. I've always been, like, it's always really interesting when I'm especially depressed or when I'm really sick. Basically, yeah, things like that lowers my tics. As far as like consuming things goes, for me personally, alcohol has made my tics worse. I don't know why. But for the most part, it lowers my tics, and coffee makes it higher. Do I have meds for depression? I do not. I have meds for anxiety. Yeah, I have meds for anxiety, but not depression. I think I've managed my depression fairly well without it. Coffee's a stimulant. That it is. Let's see.
medium rare internet beef that I think is just kind of worthless to go over, but so many people keep bringing it up to me that I feel I should at least talk about it to some extent. So I'll go ahead and cannonball into the septic tank and doggy paddle
Same
around
as
for a bit.
that
The main
makes
topic
sense.
involves a banned YouTube creator that I'm sure you've all heard of before. His name is Sneako. A lot of people compared him to like a diet Andrew Tate. He recently got banned, and he still does make content elsewhere. And recently he started targeting me because I made jokes about his friends on the Fresh and Fit podcast, whom I think are beautiful clowns that do some very silly stuff that is entirely entertaining to make fun of. But Sneako didn't see it that way because he's a very sensitive guy, and he'd started writing their wieners to try and defend a blatantly outrageous story that one of them told about meeting a basketball player at a party, then being invited by...
Wait, did I say he was banned? Was he banned from Twitch? Wait, fuck. I might not be allowed to watch this video if it has sneak. Wait, I
by
got
that
it.
basketball player to a
I
mansion
know
and
how
then
to deal
fucking
with
a
it.
ton of girls at that mansion thanks to the basketball player, which sounds like something a Tumblr account would have made up, and ending with "and everybody clapped." It was such a goofy piece of fan fiction, it felt like he was begging to be humiliated and made fun of, so I started throwing some balls at the clown and dunking them in the tank. I made a video talking and joking about it, and Sneako saw this and he wasn't too happy, so he got offended on his
Not
friend's
him, but a
behalf,
guy
which
he
of
talks
course is
on,
a very alpha male thing to do. I know Sneako doesn't like that nomenclature. He never calls himself an alpha male and thinks that it belittles him, but his fan base is and has been red-pilled and thinks of him as like a no-nonsense kind of guy who tells it like it is, a man's man. And yet Sneako cries more than a 12-year-old going through puberty and has very public temper tantrums like a child who didn't get the Spider-Man toy they wanted for Christmas. So he was upset because I was making fun of them. He then makes a big rant about me, calling me a bitch, saying all kinds of things. He doesn't really make any points, he just insults my appearance a lot and makes very bold assumptions about me not going outside and shit like that, which of course has nothing to do with anything I was saying, nor does it debunk any of my points. Not that I was even really making points, I was just making jokes about a silly fucking story, and he's taking it as if I just gave a TED Talk on monogamy, because for some reason he somehow gets lost in like this Winter Soldier episode, like this delusional fantasy, where he starts making a statement on monogamy, which of course had nothing to do with the video I made.
I'm not gonna say anything. He's in a monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
This is his girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she's pretty. A little jealous of her. I'm kidding. I said so.
So there you go. I mean, I told you, like, I could hear it in your voice. The fact that someone doesn't have to abide by those rules. Someone could go and fuck a lot of bitches. That it's so foreign to a lot of people's ideas, because when you get brainwashed, when you get told that monogamy is the answer.
What the fuck are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened? And where is monogamy even coming from? You're fighting an invisible enemy right now. You're fighting ghosts that aren't real. Like, none of this had anything to do with the video itself of me joking about a stupid fucking story that this guy told. Like, it's so weird. And he's been mad ever since, as I understand it. I, of course, don't really watch him, but I keep getting updates on Sneako not being happy, wiggling his finger, saying, I don't really like this Charlie guy anymore for this. And like I said, because so many people keep bringing this up to me every day, I felt obligated to at least, you know, talk about this a little bit and engage with the drama, even though I don't really want to. What I do want to talk about, though, is the Black Friday Moist Global merch sale, baby. A lot of great merch on moistglobal.com is a lot of money off right now, so go to moistglobal.com to get some fucking beautiful items, and we even have some really fun, goofy ones that are in stock right now, such as this wonderful Happy Coat, which is kind of like a bathrobe. It's fantastic. And we also have some Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired designs available right now as well, which are just fun items.
Oh, that's
once
cute.
all of these are sold out, they won't be restocked. So
Oh.
if you're at all interested, go to moistglobal.com. The link's in the description. I'm going to keep this on for the rest of the video. The only thing I'm missing now is a cigar, so really get into character here. I'm going to go ahead
I
and
kinda
talk a little
low-key
bit more
want
about
that
this.
robe.
I
The
am
robe
pretty
with the
familiar
moist
with
kind
Sneako,
of
probably more so
fits.
than a lot of his more modern fan base is. I first became aware of his content when he got mad at me a couple years ago because I was criticizing a movie called Cuties. For those that don't know, Cuties was a movie that went to Netflix, and it
yeah.
was basically just softcore child porn. It was a movie that focused on twerking and a coming-of-age film that used real children in real positions of, like, sexualization, where during, like, a twerking contest, they'd have cameras that would go, like, right into their ass and zoom in. It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I forgot about the whole Cuties thing, but I didn't watch it luckily, but Cuties was, from what I've seen from it, it was, interesting. Like, people say that it's to raise awareness about the sexualization of children, but I feel like that's what Cuties did was like me, it was like me if I raised awareness about dog abuse by beating a dog. Like, bruh. Like, you can get your point across without actually sexualizing children. What?
Disgusting stuff. And I made a whole video talking about how fucked up it is that not only does it exist, but Netflix has promoted it and it's on their service. Regardless of what the intention was or what the message aimed to deliver from the director, it completely missed the mark. By using real child actors and doing the things that they did in the film, it became a movie that was only enjoyed by legitimate, real, self-admitted pedophiles.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if you really needed to get your point across that way, you could have just, like, for a start, you could have just not used actual child actors. Teen dramas do that all the time. Like, the dramas where like, teenagers are all doing, like, teenager things, like going to prom, getting a boyfriend, kissing a guy, dating a guy, having sex with said guy. Like, if you use actual teenager actors for that would have been, like, omega weird, right? Like, so, like, teen dramas do that all the time. Like, they could have just not used child actors for a start. Like, I mean, I'm sure there were other things they could have done, but, like, for a start, maybe don't do that.
And I made a video talking about how gross that whole situation was, and Sneako made a response to it saying that the outrage around this film is misplaced, and it's actually a good movie.
Americans are like, this is deplorable. I saw this commentator, Penguin Zero, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. And it's like he didn't even watch the movie. It's just like he only saw the clips that were going to piss him off. Or he just got so triggered by the provocative imagery that he just, deplorable. Come on, man. Like, don't you see the reasons why she's doing what she's doing?
Like, if it was, like, a different kind of movie, maybe I would have saw his point, but to be fair, I am also somebody who's only seen the clips, but I'm struggling to see what context you can give that would make those clips by itself okay. That's the problem. Like, the clips by itself, like, even if it was out of context, the clips by itself, there is no context you can give those clips that makes them okay. There is none. It is just like, ew.
Sneako has said multiple times, even in his most recent rant, that he does like my content, though I'm pretty sure he just says that to cushion the blow and, like, tiptoe around it, like, before insulting me. Just in case there's anyone in his chat that likes my content, he wants to make sure to not make them upset. So he makes sure to preface it by saying, well, I actually do like him, but... and then goes on to get super personal about it. This was my first real exposure to Sneako, and it's also the reason I don't care what his opinion is of me, because it's coming from a man who likes cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a bitch or anything like that? it legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child porn production.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video. I saw Cuties last night, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover, and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. Thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people
that
who are
doesn't
really
make
mad
it
about
okay.
this are Gen Z.
Now, the reason I'm showing this isn't just to debate a multiple-year-old Sneako video that he completely ate shit on and had the worst possible take of with this whole cutie situation. The reason I'm showing this is because I haven't liked him since I saw this side of him. I was aware that he made other content, and apparently some of it was pretty good a couple years back, but once I saw this video, it just showed me a really weird guy who it seemed like really just wanted to be contrarian for the sake of it, and makes terrible points in defense of this film for some reason. Like, even in your own video, you openly admit right there that yes, it sexualizes children. Full stop, that's not okay. That's a problem.
Like, this girl, at one point, she takes a picture of her vagina and posts it on Instagram. Kids naturally just rebel. I like this movie because it's extremely provocative, but it's realistic. A major criticism of this film was that it's child porn, that they were just showing these kids and that it's going to bring a bunch of pedophiles in.
It is, and it sounds like it has.
Think so. Not more than anything else that's on the internet now, or not more than beauty pageants in America, which still exist and are exactly what you see in the film.
Do you go to beauty pageants to watch the kids, Sneako? I certainly hope not. Just because the beauty pageants, which are fucked up, completely agree, just because those exist in the real world doesn't mean that that's justification for this movie. I feel like that should be obvious. You can't
Beauty
use this whataboutism like, oh yeah,
up.
Cuties has a lot of sexualization of children, but what about, you know, child beauty pageants? I mean, those are out there in the real world, so what's wrong with Cuties being on Netflix? I won't show you any more from this video, it's dog shit all across the board. But there is one more thing I'd like to highlight. Even when Sneako started to rise to popularity, I didn't pay too much attention because, again, in my mind, he will always be that guy that for some reason fights for this film, which is just fucking weird. So he's always just been kind of a weird person to me that I don't pay too much attention to. But I couldn't help but take notice of one of his more recent viral clips where he openly defends getting cucked.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was imagine seeing the girl you love like get fucked. You love her? Yeah, I do. I love her.
I'm done. All right.
I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my.
I look funny. And like, I have tiny legs. Imagine if I had tiny legs.
I'm crazy. The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. You know what?
It is a legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to because Sneako is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a deeper message, like, no, this is actually a good thing, and in fact, I recommend every guy out there try letting their girl get fucked by another man. Then you'll know if it's real, if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. It is fucking tragic to listen to. Now, I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with open relationships. I think everyone should be completely within the right to handle their relationships however they see fit and whatever makes them happiest. Contrary to what Sneako thinks about me, I have legitimately no issue with open relationships at all. But what Sneako's talking about here isn't so much an open relationship, it's cuckoldry. You have watched your girl get fucked in front of you on at least 2 occasions that he talks about here. And you were right next to her, watching her get fucked, and one time you were so upset about it you had to leave the room after the 3rd pump, you said.
Cuckoldry is it's a valid kink, but only if you want to do it. Otherwise, that's just weird. Like the difference between a kink being okay versus a kink just being weird is it doesn't hurt anyone, of course, and there's consent. So, cuckoldry, it's interesting to hear about alpha males promote cuckoldry because it seems contrarian to their beliefs. Cuckoldry comes from a place of Well, there's a lot of factors that could get somebody into cuckoldry. So, like, it could be because they have a really, pretty small penis. It could be that they have a hard time sexually and cannot adequately please women, or at least ways not just with their dick because they can't get it up or whatever. Or basically, for like a lot of factors like that, cuckoldry, cuckoldry comes from either a place of wanting to. It's a bit of a BDSM thing where cuckoldry, the guy goes at. Usually chooses the person who is hotter than them so as to feel inferior to them, and then they watch the guy who they feel is hotter than they are fuck their woman, and it gives them like a sense of pride. It can give them a sense of pride, like he's sharing his beautiful woman with another person. But it can also come from a place of if you can't please someone, then they get somebody else to do it in their stead, and they watch and they get off of that. But everything about that seems incredibly contrarian to the beliefs of the manosphere, so I'm a little surprised about Sneako promoting that, even like for temporarily.
You're clearly not really alright with this situation. You're for some reason forcing yourself to be okay with it. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be an armchair psychologist like you try to do against me during your rant, but it really seems like you don't like it. And yet, for some reason, you're also trying to celebrate it and promote it like a good thing. It's just super sad. Like, if you're fucking other girls and she's fucking other guys, that's one thing, but you being in the same bed that she is fucking another man in and watching her, and then even talking about how, like, upset you were about how much she was moaning and the deep eye contact she was making with the man she was fucking in front of you, like, you're not really okay with it, it sounds like. So stop trying to pretend to be, and stop trying to make it seem like this is a good, healthy thing for everyone that everyone needs to try. It's just pretty sad. So this is always in the back of my mind when he starts critiquing my relationship, or really any relationship for that matter. Like, what really gives you the right, especially when you're clearly in a very complicated situation in your own mind with your relationship? So, like I said, I didn't really want to talk about this, but he apparently keeps shitting on me and making a big hoopla about it, and people keep bringing...
Alright, so now we go here.
Hey, Sneako. Does this outfit look familiar? This is the same thing I wore last time I took you over my knee and spanked your bottom with some discipline. And I'm happy to report that these are back in stock, and a lot more, at moistglobal.com. Last time I talked about you, I used you for a merchandise push as well, so might as well stick with tradition. I bet just seeing me in this attire again has just sent you on a full-blown Winter Soldier episode with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull as you're experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, because the first video I made on you offended you to such a high degree that you have not stopped whining since. It's already been 3 months, can you believe that? How time flies. You started shit with me by insulting me and my girlfriend out of nowhere, so naturally I responded by making fun of you in return, and showcasing the reasons why I don't respect you. But unfortunately, I failed to calculate just how much of a sensitive fucking loser you are, because this hurt your feelings to such a high degree it's become like an Armageddon in your brain. 3 months you have continued to melt down about this. The day after I posted my response, he went on stream and had a huge unhinged tantrum and meltdown about the whole thing, and then he sent some of his viewers over. So I was joking with them, saying like, oh, you guys must have just stopped the Cuties watch party over there at Sneako's stream, right? Welcome, cucks, that kind of shit. And it got really under his skin in a big way, so he started dancing around with the gun and threatening to come shoot me. So he kept saying, oh, you're in Tampa, right? I'll come see you, waving his gun around and dancing.
You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips. You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips.
Oh my god.
These are the only clips I'm watching, you were?
Now, the reason he keeps saying watch my clips while threatening me here is because during the stream I couldn't watch him live because he just kept shouting slurs. So I said watch my clips to see what I was saying about you. I had to communicate via Twitch clips. And I'm sorry to be that guy, this is like the grammar police of guns, but he's a fucking imbecile. You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips, you absolute fucking dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips, you look fucking stupid.
I remember this. That was so cool. I like the Florida man came out. Like, if I was Sneeko, I would have deleted my entire social media presence after that.
Stupid here. Anyway, sorry for the gun anatomy lesson. He was very upset, so he was threatening to come shoot me, beat me up, all of that, because I hurt his feelings, and it's been festering for quite some time now. 3 fucking months. You love to bitch about how everyone's canceling you. These soy boy NPC bots are all canceling you. It's all you do. You treat the teenagers in your Discord like they're your goddamn therapist. Just going in there to complain about the invisible boogeyman canceling you again, shaking your fist at the clouds. I also love that you treat this Discord server like it's your PR team, so you have them work on your responses on Twitter because you're not witty enough to come up with anything on your own. You have no ability to banter. You can't insult anyone. Anytime you're pushed, all you fall back on is one of 3 things: soy boy, bot, or NPC, and that's it. You never deviate from this path. Which is ironic, because you're like literally a sheep. You have 3 programmed responses. You're like the absolute worst character, side character in an MMO. It's pathetic. But I'm getting sidetracked. You love to be super public about how much you hate antidepressants and you shit on anyone who takes antidepressants. But with the way you talk in your Discord server, I'm pretty convinced that you're only 2 or 3 messages away from asking your community to source antidepressants for you under the table to help with all this mental anguish you're going through. And I think that'd honestly be a good idea. It might help you. But I'm putting the cart before the horse here. How did we get to this point? Well, I made that video about Sneeko, and I fully planned on that being the only time I ever talked about this asshole. I really did. All I wanted to do was highlight why I personally don't respect him. I know a lot of people criticize me for not tackling his points, and to that I say, bah humbug, this fucking goober didn't make any points. All he did was insult me and my girlfriend.
True.
He insulted me and my girlfriend because I made fun of one of his friend's blatantly fake stories. He resorted to childish name-calling like, I'm ugly, and I don't go outside. That's not making any points. Like, what am I supposed to debunk there? No, actually, my mom thinks I'm handsome, and so does my girlfriend, so you're wrong. Factually wrong. There's nothing to debunk. The whole point of the video was highlighting why I don't respect him. I'll go ahead and briefly give you a previously on Dragon Ball Z lore recap to bring you up to speed on the points I was making for why I think he is a pathetic piece of shit, and his opinion holds no value in my eyes. Is because he publicly defends Cuties as one of his favorite movies. Cuties was a Netflix film that used real child actresses in sexual situations, so they sexualized real children. A fact that Sneeko himself acknowledges, but writes off as being okay because it's realistic, because in the real world children get sexualized. I'll say it again, regardless of what the intention of the film was, they missed the mark because what ended up happening is they sexualized the child actresses. That is a problem. Full stop. Even if the message was supposed to be the opposite, they still ended up contributing to the very problem they were speaking out against.
I saw Cuties last night, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover, and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Imagine claiming children in sexual positions is clickbait. Yikes.
Right.
That's rough. You admit that the children were sexualized. That is bad. Okay? That means the movie failed in its mission. I don't know what you don't get about that. But regardless, I'm not here to just keep hammering home the same points. Another thing that I talked about for a reason I don't respect him is because he battles with his own sexuality. He is very public about how he used to go to these swinger parties, I think he says 4 in total over the course of like 2 weeks, where he watched his girlfriend get fucked by other men. Even telling the story of how he was literally in the bed watching his girl get fucked by a different man, moaning intensely and it was traumatizing. Yet he recommends that everyone should try it at some point for some reason.
Because this was imagine seeing the girl you love like
get fucked.
You
love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my
Queen.
wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other three?
Is there I'm crazy.
The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. You know what?
So my point with this was, why is this the guy that's lecturing everyone on their relationships, shitting on people's relationships, when he himself is in one that makes him very upset and he can't come to terms with it? Now, if he's open about being a cuck and happy and proud to be a cuck, that's fine. But he's not. It makes him mad every single time. So why the fuck is this insecure guy the one that's the moral authority on healthy relationships all of a sudden? That was the point of me bringing up that clip. Now, that was basically the whole video. I summed it up real quick. All I pointed out is I don't respect his opinion because he defends a movie I consider to be child porn. I think any film or any production that has real children being sexualized should be classified as child porn. That's how I view it. Maybe your definition's different, but that's how I personally view that kind of content. So him defending that was beyond reprehensible to me. And him being very public with his cuckoldry and how scarring it has been, it should be a lesson and an example that he himself is not great when it comes to relationships and all these things. And I posted that and it made him extremely upset and he hasn't stopped fucking crying about it for 3 months. So, fast forward to 2 days ago. I was streaming a Moist Esports tournament and I went up to go to the bathroom. I had to take a shit. It was a double flusher. So I was on the toilet for quite some time and I saw a Sneako post that he's posted quite a few times now and I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not doing anything else right now on the Porcelain Throne. I'll play in the pig pen. So I did. For 3 months now, Sneako has had this adorable little collage that he made that looks like it's straight out of a 16-year-old girl's diary with pictures of boys from her class that she doesn't like. All about people that have hurt his feelings. This is his wall of shame for people that have insulted him online. What's even sadder about it is he purposely leaves out people that he's afraid of. So Turkey Tom, for example, made a whole video talking about Sneako and how pathetic he is. And Sneako tried to talk a big game to him, even challenged him to a debate, which Turkey Tom accepted with jubilation. He was ecstatic. And then Sneako kept ducking him, ghosting him. So he leaves Turkey Tom off of this list because he's afraid to actually talk to him. And he also leaves off quite a few other people, but the most notable other one that is comical for the absence is Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is an internet content creator that Sneako lied about for a long time, and they had a lot of beef, and Brandon Buckingham actually challenged him to a fight. And Sneako is very fearful of him. We'll get into that more in depth in a moment, but I just need to set the stage a little bit here with this collage. So after seeing this for the 100th time in the last 3 months, I finally just said, holy shit, you pathetic, sensitive, soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get fucked by numerous other men and also insulted you for defending child porn. That's not cancellation. That's just spitting on you for being a pitiful, sad cuck. And this puppy really blew up on Twitter in a big way. Now, I will say it again. What I did and what I am doing right now is not canceling you, Sneako. I am insulting you. I am making fun of you. Something that you were supposed to be a huge proponent of, right? Wasn't like one of your big things like bullying needs to be brought back. So now that I'm making fun of you, what, all of a sudden now it's off limits, now it's canceling? You have become the SJWs that you criticize so much. I don't know how you don't realize that. We continue. He says, you know in your soul you would never say that to my face. To which I respond, you literally have a collage of people that hurt your feelings on the internet. You haven't stopped whining about me for months now, you goofy NPC. Even if you beat my ass in a fight, it doesn't change the truth. You're still a cuck who also defends child porn. I think this is important to talk about, and I just talked about it recently. When you are getting your feelings hurt and your immediate response isn't to fire back with insults, jokes, whatever, it's to challenge someone to a fight, you've taken a huge L. You've shown that the person has got under your skin, and the only thing you can resort to is a caveman brain of, I'll beat you in a fight. Sneako, you beating me in a fight doesn't unfuck your girlfriend from the numerous men that had sex with her in front of you. It doesn't do anything. Everything I've said still stands. Nothing changes. It doesn't even salvage your ego. All it is a pathetic fucking attempt at attention. And I don't think you believe half the things you talk about. I really think Sneeko just panders as much as possible. He himself doesn't even stand by the things he talks about. I really don't think he has any beliefs of his own. He just echoes what he thinks is going to get him the biggest audience / the most money. That's what I think. So this puffing out his chest of challenging me to a fight is clearly attention. That's what it feels like. Because you don't have the same energy for Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is more than willing to fight you any day of the week. But with him, you don't want to do that for some reason. Why? Do you not stand by your beliefs when it comes to Brandon Buckingham? He has said all the same things about you that I am saying about you. So why is he exempt? Why don't you want to fight him? That's so weird. This is what you said about Brandon Buckingham and fighting him.
And then finally, when Brandon Buckingham is down to meet Sneeko, he's there to box him. They're both similar sizes. Sneeko would now rather just sit at home and tell jokes behind his computer.
I'd rather sit at home and yell at a camera, tell jokes than, risk my manhood falling flat for Brandon Buckingham, if I lose the fight.
So now it's suddenly cool to just stay at home and keep it all online.
The full video here from Willie Mack is an absolute masterpiece on laying out every pathetic thing that Sneeko has ever done, said, or everything ever. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a banger. So, as you can see, the people he's confident in fighting are ones that he feels confident he'd win against. I'm 5'6". I think he's 6'1". So the height advantage he feels very confident with. And he has every reason to. He would probably beat me in a fight. But like I said, that doesn't change anything. Everything I've said is still true. You are a cuck, self-admitted, and you have defended cuties publicly, which, by more than just me, by many, is considered child porn. You're pathetic. Beating me in a fight doesn't change any of those facts. I've also been super vocal about how I don't want to fight. Like, I'm not afraid to say, I don't want to get hit in the head, right? I'm afraid of taking
We're
headshots.
the same way.
It's probably a super normal fear to have, so I'm averse to going into a boxing match, especially one that's just a clout-driven spectacle like this. That'd be
Oh my god. Whenever events like, say, chess boxing happens, it's always amusing how much me and Moist Critical have in common. Where, we wouldn't want to participate because all it would take for us to lose would be, one very polite slap across the face and we're done. We're done. I would be done. No. And I wouldn't be ashamed to admit that either. Oh my god. But I digress. Yeah, it's amusing that we have that in common. But I digress. So, we have social climbers, but also, we have in the Twitch space that, well, not in Twitch, in the streaming space, we have people who aren't above, imagine if your coworker just came in and started waving a gun around, you were just minding your business, trying to do your job, and your coworker, didn't like that you, insulted him one time during lunch break, so he came in, waving a gun around, that's, the most... To be fair, that's the most American shit I just described, but imagine if that happened. So we have, really sensitive coworkers who, not only do streamers have to deal with social claimers, they have to deal with, coworkers that threaten their lives. Oh my god, okay? Cause yeah, wow, that would, if this happened, if a coworker did that to another in, McDonald's, we would be but, yeah, there are other moments of shitty coworkers that, other streamer coworkers that I can think of at the top of my head, so let's watch that. one that actually happened recently, actually. Like, coworkers just being shitty people in general. Like, holy fuck. Alright.
When I learned about Mind Bloom, I was curious if psychedelic therapy could actually help with those symptoms, with that depression and anxiety. And it did. It actually did. I definitely saw...
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. I'm going to start you off with a question. When you donate to a charity live stream and that money leaves your bank account and it goes to the charity, do you expect that money to actually be going to the charity that you're donating to, or do you expect it to sit in a bank account for years? What do you think is the more logical option? Do you want your money to go that year, or do you want it to just sit in a bank account doing nothing to help a cause that you firmly believe in? Well, that's the question we're looking into today. Now, the YouTuber that we're actually discussing is known as The Completionist. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering, who is The Completionist? The Completionist is one of the more popular gaming channels. He's been around for a long time, and he makes some pretty awesome gaming content. What The Completionist also does beyond make interesting gaming content is run something known as Indie Land, an actual yearly event where industry veterans, independent gaming companies, big brands like Corsair and G Fuel, and some of the best influencers in the game all converge together to help raise money for charity. Indie Land is there to fight against dementia. Now, if you go to the big donate page over here, you'll find out that they work with the Open Hand Foundation. And this foundation was founded to honor the memory of Karen Khalil, the completionist mother who ended up losing her life in a fight against frontotemporal dementia. And of course, all the condolences for sure. But when we looked into this charity, one of the biggest red flags showed up, and that was the Open Hand Foundation. Now, while it is a 501c3 charitable organization, tax-free, all designed for public charity, we wanted to look into this organization with a much more in-depth look, because we found something a little unsavory. And by we, I mean Carl Jobst and me. We were working on the story together, and the actual results are very damning. So ladies and gentlemen, when we looked at the Open Hand Foundation, they said, together, let's make a difference. And of course, the philosophy is, the more you receive, the more you give. The more you give, the more you receive. Life gives and life takes. And of course, if you look at their donation, they say that your gift will contribute to vital research for a cure for this devastating disease. Now, of course, they list benefactors like the University of California, San Francisco. I assume it's from San Francisco. Typos usually aren't a good sign when it comes to situations like this. But on their events page, they appear to have two events that help raise money for this charity, which is the Convenience Cup Challenge and, of course, Indie Land. Which, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to look even further into where this money that was raised by Indie Land was going. See, in the news, you would just read that Indie Land, for instance, in 2021, raised more than $100,000 for dementia research, which is crazy awesome. Over the weekend, annual live streaming event raised more than $100 grand for charity, organized by YouTube star Gerard Khalil, aka The Completionist. And of course, it's the same story that you'll find on other websites like Dual Shockers, which again says in 2022 they raised $80K for dementia research. And of course, these are massive news articles to see. It's feel-good stuff. But this is where I feel like these news sites should have dug a little bit deeper, because what me and Carl found was very questionable. All right, so how do you vet a charity yourself, ladies and gentlemen? To vet a charity, you go to any of their websites, and usually at the very bottom, you'll find something like a tax ID, an EIN number.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't know that until I watched this video. It was so interesting. Like, you can just, I didn't know you could just go to the IRS and see their tax shit. And it's so interesting to just look at the tax shit of random charities.
For the Open Hand Foundation, it's 30-08-27510. You copy that, and you can basically go to the IRS charity lookup right here. So again, it's as very simple as going to Google, typing in IRS lookup, and here you can see tax-exempt organization search. You click on that, and you put in the EIN number in this field and hit the search button. And that takes you to the Open Hand Foundation. You open that one up right here, and you can see a lot of their letters too. For instance, this determination letter that shows that they've been active since 2014. And again, this is their this is basically them showing when they were active from. Okay, so they've got their tax forms, their 990 PFs, which basically shows the money going in and hopefully the money going out. So these are all public records, and you can look them up for yourself right now. And we went to ProPublica, and they have tax filings all the way from 2014 up to 2021. So at this moment in time, me and Carl decided to look down the actual filings year by year, and we found a pretty massive discrepancy that to everyone we showed has raised every red flag imaginable. So back in 2014, this open to public inspection note, you can see that the Open Hand Foundation raised in revenue $33,000 in contributions. If you look at their operating and administrative expenses, they had nothing to spend. So that also includes contributions, gifts, and grants paid, line 25, which would mean money going to other charitable organizations or grants that you're providing for, Alzheimer's research, for these charitable causes. And of course, if you look at their balance sheets, at the end of 2014, they had $33,756 sitting in cash in their accounts. So then we go to the year 2015, and we looked that they made $60,000 in contribution revenue. They spent $27,686 this year. But that puts them from having $33,756 in their account at the beginning of the year to having $66,000. Remember, it's the amount of contributions they make minus their operating expenses. What's interesting is line 25. They paid nothing in contributions, gifts, or grants at all. They did, however, spend $28,000 in administrative expenses. Then we decided to go all the way to the year 2016, and the pattern became even more interesting. $40,000 they raised in that year. Then they went down and apparently spent $11,599 in administrative expenses. How much did they spend in contributions paid? $0. And of course, you can see that at the beginning of the year, they had $66,000 that they started off with and $94,000 in the bank. So then we went to the year 2017. And if you can imagine the pattern, they made $31,000. They spent $11,000, still paid $0 in contributions or grants to these charities, and started with $94,000 and ended with $115,000. Then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, 2018 rolls. They make $113,000 in contributions in revenue. They spend $14,144 in operating expenses. Then, of course, they still pay out $0 in contributions, starting the year with $115 in the bank, ending it with $215,028 in the bank. 2019 rolls around. They make $123,000. They spend $12,394 in operating expenses. Actually, $13,029. Point is, they still spent $0 in contributions paid. That started them off with $215 that year, ended them with $325,815. The year 2020 rolls up, turn of the decade. $122,000 that they've earned in contributions. Again, still contributing $0 to these charitable organizations, but spending $6,140 in operating money. That started them with $325, ended them with $442. 2021 rolls by. They make $136,000 in contributions and donations. Donate $0 this entire year too. Spend almost $30,000 in administrative expenses. This starts them with $442,000, ends them with $549. And if you think I'm getting too long-winded, don't get me wrong. We're at the last year, 2022 of their filings.
No,
they make $117,000. Then
That's
they
okay.
somehow spend $11,000, but still contribute $0 at all. So again, this starts them with $549 and ends them with a whopping $655,000 in the bank. That seems about right. Indieland is raising $600,000. Obviously, there's a bit more money that they've earned from various other events and more contributions. But the point is, this is still money that's sitting in their account. Now, me and Carl actually started a conversation with Gerard to get his side of the story, and he confirms that the money is still sitting in the account.
To answer your question, Carl, I don't have an answer. You know, I think that's my fuck up. I have personally donated to AFTD and Alzheimer's Association over the years, and that's where, again, I assumed the money was going there to support them as we were talking negotiations about working with them. I don't really have a true answer for that, and that's on me completely, and I will own up to that. But, you know, again, it doesn't fucking matter. You guys are going to say what you're going to say, and I can't stop it. But the important thing is that all the money is still in the account. None of it's spent erroneously. It's all above board. Like, it's not hiding in a Cayman account or anything like that. Yeah, and that's the thing about 501Cs is that, like, if I did any of that, the minute I did any malpractice of that nature, literally the government would be like, hey, we're coming after you. And that's, you know, at least legally speaking, everything's above board. And I understand that the question isn't so much legality and so much more about morality in, you know, me advertising this event and showing people sponsors and all that stuff.
Now, I think it's quite interesting to almost make it sound like this is about to be some crazy drama story, when in reality, this isn't some tabloid journalism we go for. I kind of find a weird insinuation of that a little bit insulting for me and my colleagues like Carl, people like CoffeeZilla, people like Barely Sociable, who do deep dives and investigative pieces on situations like this.
But, yeah, like, digress. I'm not sure if we... Yeah, it's like... probably should. But yeah, I digress. The point is there are co-workers in the streaming space that are just shitty people in general. So because of what the completionist did, I imagine that it's probably going to be a little bit harder for other streamers to do good and raise money for charity like that in the future. And it's because, like, people, like, the completionist, like, just went and shook people's trust of charities and, like, streamers doing charity, which is sus in and of itself, which seems sus in and of itself when you're not, like, familiar with that sort of thing. So, yeah, people just, like, streamers have, like, really good people in the streaming space, really fun people to hang out with, and that's always good, but, like, they also have to deal with really bad coworkers that just ruin everything for them. So that are just, you know, evil. Now, so the next thing that makes the job hard is an asshole boss. That being said, so the current boss is named Dan Clancy, and honestly, from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, we can research it to make sure that's what this stream is about, but the point is Dan Clancy actually seems like a good person, but like the previous CEO of Twitch specifically, the previous one, people have said that they've been MIA most of the time, and like it got to a point where people suspect that he doesn't even know that he's a CEO of Twitch, which is interesting. people suspect as much, but so far streamers have sung praises for Dan Clancy so far, so I've nothing to say. So it seems like they're doing okay in the boss department, but I could be wrong. Let's see. CEO Twitch brutally roast Asmon. That could be Dan Schneider. Stage apology. Okay, so.
Wix is your platform to perform on.
I could be wrong.
A complete portfolio solution means you can tell your unique story with confidence.
Asmon catching. Wait, what?
Wait, Senna, show Dan that one more time. Just real quick.
Let's see it, Senna. Let's see it, Senna. You've
We'll
got
see.
a weave, kind of like
Okay.
Donald Trump.
Right. No, well, I was more so copying Asmongold's hairline, you know? So I got the
That's
Asmongold
bad news.
fade going on. Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
That's bad news. If you're
Yeah,
stuck-
there's nothing good that comes out of that hairline.
Hold on. I think we've realized the root of the problem. The root of the problem is if you're taking hair tips from Asmongold. I think we've gotten to the root of the problem right
Right. That's why my love life is in shambles.
Okay.
Root of the problem is you gotta do this real quick again, Senna. That's the root of the problem.
All right, that's it. I'm streaming Diablo 4 on my alt account. Like I'm streaming it on my alt account. Like I've had enough of this shit, man.
That's funny. He's funny. Alright, Benos and thanks farming at the Streamer Awards. Does he share out a go? Oh, that's like an hour long though. Twitch CEO. Oh, I think this is about their former CEO.
I've got a piping hot meal fresh out of the Olive Garden microwave.
This is about the
straight to your
former
dinner
CEO,
table
I'm
here.
pretty
This
sure.
news is fresh off the press. The CEO of Twitch has announced that they're stepping down. Emmett Shear has been with the company at the helm for 16 years, apparently, and today has decided to move on. So he's quit his position and passed the torch. This is really interesting because it happens so soon after YouTube just experienced something very similar with Susan stepping down.
Oh, yeah,
Back to back,
Susan
these two
CEO
major
went
companies
out
had their
too.
CEOs walking off into the sunset together. I'm not normally conspiratorial, but perhaps there is some kind of correlation between all of the UFOs we've been citing recently and now these CEOs stepping down. Maybe the Illuminati's making some plays for the shadow government. Things are getting very odd. But anyway, Emmett left us a blog post kind of detailing his 16-year adventure here at the helm of Twitch, and even made a Twitter post kind of going over it briefly as well. In October 2006, we started working on live video for the internet. That became Twitch. More than 16 years later, I'm now a father and ready to move to my next phase of life. I wrote a blog post, but the short version is, thank you so much to everyone who built this with me. I'd like to make note that this is probably the first time Emmett Shear has ever said a single word about Twitch on his Twitter account. I've said this a million times, but you would have no idea Emmett Shear is the CEO of a major company like Twitch if you didn't just look it up yourself. I bet you were even scratching your head when I said the name Emmett Shear. You're probably going, who the fuck is Emmett Shear? Is that like a NASCAR driver or something? Like, who's that? I bet most people are probably under the impression Twitch didn't even have a CEO. That position was filled by Amazon androids or something. Emmett Shear has been my poster child for the last couple of years for a CEO that is beyond out of touch with the company that he runs, and it really does convey the idea that he doesn't care about it. Again, he doesn't talk about it, he doesn't engage with it ever, he doesn't celebrate anything about Twitch. If you scroll through his Twitter, you'll never really find any mentions of anything going on Twitch. I imagine he probably doesn't even know 5 streamers that use the platform. Like, I've made this very clear. This is no secret. I've been very public that I'm not the biggest Emmett Shear fan. You're not going to see me heartbroken, curled up and crying over Emmett Shear no longer being Twitch's CEO, right? I think he has been the most passive CEO of all time, and it's really felt like he is embarrassed of his position at this company. He doesn't talk about it ever. He is never at any of the functions. He doesn't know like half of the shit on his platform. I bet the reason he stepped down is because someone at the office might have accidentally like CC'd him on an email reminding him that he's the CEO of Twitch, and he's like, what? I'm the CEO of Twitch? Still? I thought I gave up this position 8 years ago. Oh, hold on, let me rectify this. So then he just put in his 2 weeks notice. Like, he just has not, in a long time, been active in the platform he is the CEO of. So, I haven't been a big fan. Obviously, the changes that Twitch have been experiencing over the last couple of years have been overwhelmingly fucking terrible and misguided, showcasing just how out of touch a lot of the higher-ups at the company are. So, you know, Emmett Shear stepping down actually kind of had me pumping my fist a little bit. And I know I'm not alone with that sentiment either. I saw a lot of people celebrating like they had just won the fucking Super Bowl, hoping that maybe this is the turning point for Twitch where someone new will step in that's more in touch with the community and will try and correct the ship here and lead Twitch down a better path than the one that it's currently traveling over the last couple of years. But unfortunately, all of that excitement soon turned to excrement as I continued to read. They did announce who the new CEO will be. And unfortunately, it's more disappointing than Season 2 of Promised Neverland. I think this was a big fuck up, but they've chosen to give this position to the current Twitch president, Dan Clancy.
What if email marketing was this easy?
I think this is a bigger blunder than when Jeffrey Toobin masturbated on that Zoom call and lost his job. Like, this is so silly. Dan Clancy is kind of just like the bearer of bad news for Twitch. By far his biggest claim to fame and the biggest stain he's already placed upon the company even before becoming CEO is this. He was the brave warrior that proudly posted this. A letter from Twitch president Dan Clancy on subscription revenue shares. This post still lives in infamy and still haunts the platform and scares a lot of creators because we're actually coming up on the period that these changes are supposed to roll out and take place. This was the post where Twitch announced that they are going to be getting rid of the 70-30 split with partnered streamers that are on those deals. So 70-30 will no longer exist. The shares will go down to 50-50 across the board, and they will never go back to 70-30 ever. So it'll be 50-50 across all of Twitch for everyone, no matter what, making it the lowest shares on any streaming platform across the entire internet. Now, in order to make up for this, they doubled down on ads. Something everyone really loves, Twitch ads. The unskippable fucking 30-second ads that play when you click on a stream. Yeah, people love those, so you can imagine how great that news went over. Like, yeah, we're taking away 20%, but we're giving you more ads. So, they are going hog wild.
That's a great first impression.
Their ad program. Incentivizing creators to run more ads to make up for this difference now in income, and just pushing ads even further down the throats of everyone on the platform. This was by far probably one of the most controversial decisions Twitch has ever made, and I still, to this day, have not seen a single person come out in support of it, because Twitch is an Amazon-backed company. Amazon, of all companies, can probably afford to keep Twitch running. Without problem, I would imagine. Especially considering subscription revenue is not the main driver of revenue for the platform in general. It was just extremely greedy to have that be the target, the first thing they target when trying to be more monetizable. Instead of focusing on other aspects of monetization, they immediately went right for the throats of creators by taking away something that had been established on the platform for like a decade now, with that like 70-30 split shit. So, this was a big deal. It is still a big deal because it's supposed to roll out within the next couple of months, and Dan Clancy was the one who announced it publicly. I don't know if he was the one that suggested the idea. I don't know how involved he was with the decision-making process with this idea, though as Twitch president, and from everything I've read, it seems like he's very hands-on with these kind of decisions and these policies. So I would wager a guess that he was very on board with this. Now, even aside from just this decision, people have talked about him over the last 8 or so months, kind of speaking to his character. A popular streamer named Jake and Bake actually got to meet him and had this to say.
To be honest, dude, the president of Twitch, I'm sure personally, I have no problem personally with him. But honestly, I don't feel confident as a streamer on the platform with someone who is that out of touch.
Yeah.
What the streamers need and want.
Oh no!
I walked away feeling like depressed. Seriously, sad.
And it wasn't just Jake, a couple other people came forward as well, most notably DJ Wheat, who held a previous high position at Twitch. DJ Wheat said, Dan once told the company he relates with creators because he was involved in drama and theater clubs in high school. He's a good human, but I never felt like he was able to relate to creators and the struggles they face through every step of their career. Wow, gamers, he's just like us. He did drama and theater in high school. Woohoo! Yippee! That's my boy! It's crazy. Like, he didn't even bother to try and pretend to be, like, a gamer or anything, or, like, ever played games.
Yeah,
at least according to this story and a couple other things
That's
I
what
read.
I thought
He
people
focuses on,
would
like,
go.
drama and theater
If
as
they
being,
wanted
like,
to
his
at least
relatability
pretend.
quirks. Amazing. Yeah. It doesn't seem great. In fact, I would argue this is a recipe for disaster. Dan is almost 20 years older than Emmett Shear. He's 59, and he doesn't have a Twitter account or much social media at all. Not that I necessarily think that in and of itself is a bad thing. I usually applaud people who don't have a Twitter account, because going on Twitter is like willingly sticking a cactus into your eye. But in a case like this where Dan is the CEO of Twitch, I feel like having a social media presence is extremely important, because where else are you going to be able to see the community's feedback on new features or changes? I don't think there's very many users on Twitch that are going to the support line in order to leave reviews or give you insight on how they feel about certain things. Most people are going to talk about...
Yeah, agreed. Alright. So, he does seem like a good person, but at least at first, Sir Dan Clancy, he seemed incredibly out of touch. He didn't inspire a lot of confidence. But he's not like a complete asshole, it seems like, so that seems like a plus. He worked at NASA? Damn, he's smart. Okay. Bonuses. Sure.
Okay, so many queer people are making these huge strides, but it's a fight.
Hello, fam.
Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, was confronted directly by, I believe, Kai and Speed to unban him.
To unban.
I need to get the app. I don't have it on my phone. I got a new phone and haven't installed it. If he don't have big speed, he's done.
Dan Speed, he's done.
I was hoping for something more, but that's funny though. Let's see. Okay. So, at least first impression wise, he seemed like a good person. He's a funny person, but he also seemed out of touch, and he didn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence. But like that doesn't necessarily make him a bad boss, but it does, like, I can see why that would cause a lot of worry. And there was the time he, like, didn't they recently get rid of Twitch Korea? Yeah, they did. Alright.
Ooh, babe, Tokyo round trip for $454 ongoing.
Hey, I'll trade ya. Squid pro quo.
Yeah, let's do like that.
Twitch is really going through it right now. They are struggling through a hard time internally. I'm not talking about falling off or anything. They haven't lost their spot at the top of the food chain when it comes to streaming. But internally, it's pure chaos and pandemonium. They've been treading water when it comes to their financials, and it's been getting really bad. They just had to announce that they're stopping the Twitch service in South Korea because it's just prohibitively expensive. They also had the huge round of layoffs last year that you might remember. Twitch is just generating about as much money as CryptoZoo. $0. In fact, less than $0. It's negative monies. Negative clams are being generated by Twitch, and it seems to just keep getting worse. They just had to announce another wave of layoffs at Twitch with 500 employees losing their jobs. 35% of the Twitch workforce was being laid off, as confirmed by Dan Clancy. And today, Dan Clancy actually did a stream just being fully transparent, going over a lot of things, such as the layoffs, as well as just Twitch not really making money. Again, that's not a secret. We all knew that. That's about as much of a secret as me being short. Like, everyone knows by just taking a look at Twitch and what's been going on. It definitely fucking sucks how many people just lost their jobs in this most recent wave here, and it's even more unfortunate that it's not exclusive to just Twitch here. This has become extremely common in the tech industry, because so many companies like Twitch started overhiring and went through this period of overgrowth, especially during COVID, and now all at once they're starting to downsize and lay off a ton of people like what they just did. And that's something Dan also talks about.
That we've implied this before, where we say we need to run it sustainably, but I'll be blunt, we aren't profitable at this point. Amazon has been extremely supportive of Twitch, and a big thing for being sustainable over time is ensuring that we don't lose money. And that's a big part of my job, because that's going to be what makes sure we can be here for a long term.
This is the CEO of Twitch who is just speaking openly and honestly about what's going on, which is really refreshing, especially given the last CEO who didn't even know that he ran Twitch. Again, this isn't a shocking revelation. I don't think anyone heard this and flew back in their chair and slapped their knee like, well, golly, Twitch not being profitable, never saw that coming. This is the worst kept secret since Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father, right? Everyone knew it wasn't making money, and Dan is now just finally saying that out loud and then going over how he plans to fix that. Before going too deep into this subject I want to talk about, I just want to give a round of applause to Dan here. He really does seem like he cares. He's constantly streaming on Twitch and interacting with the community, like he plays games with other streamers all the time. When the announcement came with the layoffs, he wanted to go live and just directly answer questions about it and talk transparently about it. So honestly, it's appreciated that he'll do something like this. Now, he does say something that I had to raise my eyebrow at, and if this was an NFL game and I was a coach, I'd probably be throwing a challenge flag on the play. He says that Amazon has been super supportive of Twitch, and to that I have to say, are you sure? This is maybe some kind of hostage situation? Is Jeff Bezos just off camera with a baseball bat with nails through it, threatening you to say things like that? One of the major criticisms a lot of people, myself included, have stated is that Amazon seems really hands-off with Twitch as a product. For the entire time it's owned it, it hasn't really done too much to try and elevate it, improve it, fix things when things are broken, or really much of anything at all. I think the major contribution that the public can point to when it comes to Twitch and Amazon working together is Amazon offering the Twitch Prime subs, which is a huge component to Twitch, of course. It is a very big deal. But aside from that, there haven't been too many things that Amazon has done for Twitch, at least in what I've seen and what most people have seen. But with the way Dan talks about it throughout this stream, it does seem like Amazon might be significantly more supportive behind closed doors than any of us could possibly ever know. But I did just want to say, like, hearing him really sing the praises of Amazon as a partner was a little surprising for sure, given how little we see with Amazon interacting with Twitch. And speaking of Twitch Primes, I'm going to have to take a little victory lap here and say I told you so. For about 2 years now, I've speculated that Twitch Primes might vanish, at least in their current format. For those that don't know, Twitch Prime is a service offered on the platform where you can sub to a streamer completely for free as long as you have your Prime sub available, and that streamer gets $5 from Twitch. Well, $2.50 from Twitch. For free. All you do is take your Twitch Prime and use it on a streamer, $0 to you, and that streamer gets money from Twitch. I believe that they're just praying, fingers crossed every day, that you forget to use your Prime sub, because when you remember to, you're just costing the company money. And I've said for 2 years, since the holes in the ship started to show, that that's probably going to be one of the major things that they change. If they don't outright get rid of it, they're going to do some kind of drastic overhaul and change the way it currently is, because that is something that is not sustainable to a business that already isn't profitable. And Dan Clancy talks about that.
Prime is a critical program for many streamers. We've already been looking across the company in terms of how to set us up for the long term. I think we will continue to evolve different aspects of our program, because part of what I'm trying to do is get us into a framework that can live over a long time. The size of the company is one of those things that gets us to the right size for the longer period of time. When we did Partner Plus, we structured that so that we could continue to move that threshold. We're going to keep looking across our strategy with streamers. We did this with the Ads Incentive Program. We want to get to where we can continue to grow and adapt and change as the market changes. And so there may be other changes, but I will tell you Prime is an important part for our viewers and our creators. So it's important for us to make sure Prime still exists in some way.
It's not a direct answer to the question of if the free benefit to Twitch Primes is disappearing, but I think it's pretty clear with the way he answers it and tiptoes around it, beats around the bush a little bit, that he recognizes the severity of having to change that, but knows that he needs to change it. So the way that he kind of talks around the subject makes it clear that there is change coming. As he's talking about needing to come up with new strategies and everything, I think we can all say with a high level of confidence that the free benefit to the Twitch Primes is going to be an ancient relic of the forgotten past. In 50 years, you'll tell your grandkids there used to be a way to sub to your favorite streamer for free, and they'll call you crazy and tell you to take your medicine and go back to Arkham Asylum, you old geezer. But that's the way the cookie...
Move beyond the marketplace and get more control when you sell with Shopify.
Cookie crumbles, it seems. Now, this is a big I told you so moment for me, because like I said, I was beating the drum saying, hey, Twitch Primes probably aren't going to last forever. Hey, you know, like a doomsday prepper kind of thing. And it looks like that day is coming up sooner than I thought it would, to be honest. But we still don't know exactly what's going to change about it. If I had to look into my crystal ball and take another guess, I would say they're going to keep the Prime program around, but a diet version of it, a bootleg, watered-down version of the Twitch Prime service that we know and love currently. I think that it'll probably end up being more of like a discount code situation, where if you have a Prime available, once a month you can sub to your favorite streamer for half off. So instead of costing you $5 to sub to your favorite streamer, it'll cost you $2.50. And then they get the $2.50, the streamer you sub to. I think that's probably how it'll work. So it'll no longer be free, but it'll be a discount on a sub. So like 50% or maybe even less. I really have no idea. But that's kind of how I envision this going in the future. They're not going to outright get rid of it, I don't think. It'll likely be in that manner. So we'll see. We'll see if I go 2 for 2 on the Twitch Prime, boogeyman predictions here. But anyway, Dan Clancy also just directly answered a question a viewer asked about, is Twitch at risk of just getting the axe from Amazon? And he said emphatically no, and that Amazon is very much in this race. They are heavily invested in this, and there's no chance, really, that Twitch just crumbles and goes under or anything at the moment. They're going through this turbulent period internally, but he is optimistic that things will look up in the future for it, and he has some ideas on where to take things, and, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But it really was an insightful live stream. Again, I haven't really seen a CEO be this transparent. I expected he'd only be answering heavily curated comments, but he doesn't just answer only softballs. There were a couple he answered that I thought for sure he would avoid and shy away from, such as, is it true some of the employees that were laid off found out they no longer had a job through social media as opposed to through you guys? But he actually did answer it. That and a couple other questions that I thought for sure would not be addressed at all.
Virgin Man has
So overall, I do think that was a pretty cool gesture
Welcome.
from him, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see
Welcome
how
back,
things
Yono.
start to pan out for Twitch going forward. While I don't think Twitch is in any danger of being buried 6 feet under immediately, as I've said, I am skeptical that Twitch will be around in a decade. With the direction things have been going, it makes me concerned about the future of Twitch, at least in the capacity that it's currently at. Where other streaming services are growing, Twitch seems to be kind of staying in the same place and then going through more internal struggle. So it makes it seem far more dire as an outsider looking in. But Dan seems to believe that Twitch's best years are ahead of them as opposed to behind them. So perhaps they have like a really good strategy going forward. But yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya.
Flexible financing for vet care with Care Credit.
Wow. Oh, this was 2 months ago. That's good. Alright, so this is a more recent impression of Dan. And that's that he's more transparent. He's optimistic. He seems to actually care. So, while he does seem out of touch because he's in his 50s and he's old and he didn't seem to know a whole lot about what Twitch was about. As he went on, he was really transparent. He seems to have a lot of hopes that there's for Twitch to be better, and he seems to actually care about Twitch. And he's reported to be a good person. Now, how he is as a boss was neither here nor there, but they felt he was a pretty good guy. So, does Twitch have an asshole boss? I'm going to say probably not. They seemed like, I don't know about last time, where the previous boss, I believe his name was Emmett Shear. But Sheer was like very absent. And it was like people joke about him not even knowing he was the CEO. So at the very least, from that, like Dan Clancy seems like a huge step up from Emmett Shear. So yeah, he seems like a huge step up. So while he didn't seem to inspire a lot of confidence, he's certainly doing a lot better at being a CEO than Emmett Shear was. And he seems to be doing good. He's inspiring more confidence. Two short breaks. Streamers have spoken about a burnout culture where they just keep working and working until they can't no more, basically. Let's see. Again, I couldn't find anything about like their average work hours, but a lot of large streamers at the very least, a lot of large streamers have streamed like 10 hours. Like, let's say 5 to 10 hour streams, give or take. And that's also not accounting for the fact that they have to manage their socials, which could take like several hours. Because they have to make YouTube videos, they have to make TikToks, they have to make, do the Instagram and all that shit. That, like, depending on how many socials you have, that could take several hours. So that, on top of managing their socials, is a lot of work hours in and of itself. Also, let's see. I have heard, I wonder if I can find anything on this, but, I have heard that, like, a primary source of the burnout culture is the fact that Twitch is very unforgiving, in that if you miss a day, like, a day of streaming, that's a lot of viewers gone forever. Because they'll just find someone else to watch. So is it, in a sense, that's a punishment for taking breaks via lower viewership and ship after. Which is not good at all, but I wonder if I can find anything on that. Slutty McSlut face, haha, haha, slut. You slut. You whore. You filthy whore. You whore. You whore. You whore. Sorry, I'm just numbing on candy. Alright, let me numb on these. Yummy, 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 yummy. Yummy, 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 yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Alright. 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 So, I don't know. Like, take it for what it's worth, but I did find a Reddit post. From r/Twitch. Alright. Taking a break from Twitch, how will this affect my viewers? So, I have to take a 2 to 4 week break soon from Twitch, depending on how my medical procedure goes. I still want to stream since while in recovery time I won't be really doing much. I was thinking of not streaming at all for that month, but then realized I can stream at the second week without a webcam because I'll be looking like crap. I usually have a webcam and I'm not sure if I'll be able to talk. I'm able to talk properly, but I know for sure I won't be my hyped up self as usual due to being on pain meds. Will I lose viewers because of this? Obviously my health comes first, but I love streaming so much and going MIA for a month is fair enough. I do not know your community, but there are streamers that lose subs and viewers when they go to con, so it's just like 2 to 3 days of not streaming. So I guess you'll lose some as well. I took a year break. It was a stupid idea because I was reaching about 30 to 40 maxing at 70 people per stream. But like others said, the ones that really like you will watch your stream every time. I still have about 15 people that stayed true and are watching me again. Be careful, yo. So he went from 30 to 40 and maybe 17 on a really good day to 15 people. Which, to be fair, isn't terrible considering he took a break for a whole year. You know what I do in this situation? Okay, I kind of need somebody to report how many viewers they lost. Oh, you know what? I wonder if Iron Mouse has. Iron Mouse is chronically ill, and she has had her fair share of having to go away for weeks on end. So, if anyone's affected by such things, it would be her. Surely. or if she has, I don't know if she'll talk about it if she has. Because I can understand if people would be worried if that comes across as being horny, as dick fucking, as asshole fucking, as guilt tripping. Come on. Let's see. Maybe YouTube has something? Iron Mouse. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. If she has, she's probably not going to say that. Because I just realized that if somebody just, like, outright says that, then that just comes across as guilt tripping, doesn't it? Or at least it might come across as guilt tripping. Okay. But even if it's not like a whole lot, I don't know how much viewers get lost per break. However, that is a thing that happens. Like, how much that gets lost is give or take, but it does happen that if you take a break, you lose viewers. Okay. So there is that. Yeah. So, oh, I forgot asshole customers. Asshole customers, or I guess in this case, viewers. And I guess we all know this to some degree, where like, we can look at any ban appeal video, like, people are, by default, tend to be mean to the streamers. Most aren't, obviously, but like a lot of them are quite rude by default. And of course there's the more serious matter, such as stalking, which streamers have argued is the industry standard. I believe we can watch videos about that. I remember Sweet Anita making a video about that, actually. Let's see. I remember it was a whole thing about her stalker. She made a video specifically about that, though.
Jim was something that I've never encountered before.
He seemed like a really nice.
You will get.
Nickelodeon was kid everything, but that marked one of the darkest chapters. These are 3 predators who worked at Nickelodeon. You get comfortable with people until you're not.
Anita is in trouble with a situation that you would expect to find in a horror movie.
It's a dangerous situation, and it pisses me off royally.
She was actually slept outside her house, has followed her around with a knife, has chased her. Why? Why?
It's just really disturbing to know that people out there are like this.
And the UK police aren't doing anything about it.
This is disgusting treatment by the police, in my opinion. Clearly this chick is still being targeted.
He's literally threatening her in her own Twitch chat now.
So yeah, just like going through these tweets, just terrifying.
It's getting so bad last night where she tweeted out and said, hey, if something bad happens to me, please, this is insane.
Unreal, and something needs to change like yesterday.
Hi, I'm Sweet Anita, and a lot of people have been asking a lot of details about my stalker. This has been going on since October last year or so. I've been assaulted, I've been chased, and people have had to restrain my stalker out in public as he wouldn't leave me alone. And throughout all of this, I had planned to make a video just covering my situation, but in doing all of the research I possibly could, in trying to find solutions and an end to this absolute nightmare, I found that so many other people are going through the same. It's a terrifying situation to be in, especially when you don't feel that there's anyone there to help you. My stalker started following me around and sleeping in my back garden. He started staring through my letterbox. Like, I would come down the stairs in the morning, get on with my day, and then just be like, wait a minute, and look back at the door, and like his letterbox would slowly close as his eyes disappeared behind the door. And so he started knocking on my door as well a lot for hours on end, just not giving up, just constantly. I almost worried that his knuckles would bleed. It was so relentless. He'd sleep behind my house and watch it waiting for me to come out, and he'd follow me to shops. He'd constantly, persistently message me and go and say awful things in my chat. He threatened to kill me, and the police response has been incredibly underwhelming. After he assaulted me, I had a witness, I had a lot of evidence, and the police did nothing. They eventually felt pressured to do something after everyone was kind enough to start atting the police on Twitter and kind of getting upset with the UK police for not acting. There was definitely a lot more done during that time, but it still eventually amounted to nothing changing for me. And a restraining order was so slow to put in place that it didn't prevent him from harassing me over time, and it didn't actually do anything, because he continues to harass me and breach it, and nothing's being done about that either. I think what's scary is that he can assault me and get away with it, but also that when they finally went out to pick him up off the street to question him about that incident, he was actually on his way to my house with a knife when they found him. And despite that being incredibly damning, especially when they're already picking him up over a separate assault incident, they still released him a 3-minute walk away from my house. This man was crazy. He came to visit for 2 weeks and ended up moving down the street from me. He didn't stop obsessing, and he constantly denied everything that he was doing as he did it. He found ways to join my games while I was gaming with my friends and constantly beg me to go into a private VC with him. And no matter how much I refused, he'd constantly beg. And it escalated from there. He started putting my details in chat and trying to encourage other people to stalk me, doxing my home, my street, my address. He started trying to release things about me that were incredibly private, including medical conditions and things like that. And he made awful threats and awful comments constantly, some of which I shared on Twitter. And when I reported to the police that he was about to turn up at my house, he threatened to kill me on stream. He said, "I'll be there in 15 minutes. And they didn't turn up for 30 minutes. And even then, they didn't actually turn up. What they did was ring me back after 30 minutes to explain why they weren't going to do anything to help me. And I found out quite a lot of really terrible things during that time. They were actually blaming Twitch at the time for not giving them details about the accounts used. But the thing about that is that all they had to do was request that information, and they weren't doing it. And when I asked them to request that information formally and go through the correct channels, they told me directly it was not in the public interest to waste funding pursuing it because it would take too much time and effort. I later found out that the time and effort is to write a 1-page subpoena for the identity and information, which they weren't willing to do and was not as costly or time costly as they were claiming it was. So I faced a lot of barriers in trying to get a conviction, and eventually, even though it took a lot of fighting, I got there in the end, and I got a restraining order. But he breaches it constantly, includes no contact, and he definitely breaches that very regularly, making death threats, and also it seems as though I'm quite concerned. I haven't released this until today, but he threatened to kill my mom and my animals, and just a couple of days after, somebody broke into my mom's house, which has obviously left her incredibly scared and traumatized, and we're not entirely sure what to do about that, seeing as the police seem to be completely inactive and uninterested in the case. I am not the only one who's facing this disinterest and this lack of investment in solving and, prosecuting this. Many of the other streamers, you're about to see all this, I interviewed loads of other streamers about this, and they are saying exactly the same thing. They all live in different places around the world, and they're facing exactly the same inaction from the police. It seems to be a universal problem, and I think that, being an entertainer is always going to be dangerous and life-threatening until the platforms we use and the police start finding systems and means to protect us and take it seriously.
I got with a guy when I was 20, so I'm nearly 30 now, so 9 years ago roughly. We were together for about a year, just over a year, and throughout that year he created so many different accounts, all different social media, different platforms, and he would try and talk to me on those accounts and try and catch me out, like try and flirt with me as not himself. I left and I thought, right, that is it, I'm done with this guy forever. That's when it turned into stalking.
It's been ongoing, still happening for 2.5 years now. So yeah, my stalker has created thousands of Twitch accounts, Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, or Reddit accounts, like you name it, just to like attack my character as a person.
It's like they just get off on just making your life miserable. Like this one guy who's harassing me now, that's been harassing me for years, like since 2014. He'll just do stuff like he'll like post free stuff on Craigslist and like send people to my address. He'll call like plumbers, locksmiths, tow trucks, taxi cabs, like to my address, and then of course like the food deliveries. And sometimes he'll just do it so it's just like constant, like all day, all day, all day.
In my early 20s, I was kind of an outspoken, I don't know if I'd say libertarian, but very much like gamer bro in terms of my political opinions. So there were certain subreddits and communities online that were on the left that tried to like repeatedly get all of my sponsors axed, or clients of my sponsors axed if they didn't drop me, or teams axed, or like friends of mine destroyed if they like just like that kind of stuff. 2016 onwards, I started talking like right-leaning politics. Against right-leaning politics, I started moving more to the left, so then I started to garner the hatred of a lot of right-leaning people. So sometimes I get people that submit false tips to the FBI. Sometimes I get people that are trying to figure out like where my kid's mom or my kid lives. And then people that try to, all the standard stuff like hack your account, send you death threats, and all that dumb shit or whatever. Like,
he was hanging outside my house at weird times at night. He started constantly messaging me saying, I've got these nudes of you, and if you don't start responding to me, don't start talking to me again, I'm going to send them to your boss, I'm going to send them to your dad, I'm going to send them to your work, your accounts department. Like, he said, if you tell anyone about this, I'm sending them to everyone.
Mainly focuses on my relationship, so every guy I talk to, and like I feel so terrible and like self-conscious because it makes me not want to talk to any guys on stream just to like protect them from this crazy stalker guy.
It's like he does like a lot of social engineering type stuff and exploits to like spoof phone numbers, and he'll just like call my phone nonstop. There was like a whole, I swear, like 3 years where I was just completely unable to use my phone at all because he would just blow it up all day. And he'll use like all of these stupid voice changers, and he'll usually just like repeatedly be like, you're a bitch, you're a bitch, you're a bitch, and just stupid stuff like that.
Are you going to be late to stream tomorrow like you always are? I bet you will, you motherfucking cunt. Bitch, 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 you stupid ugly bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Bitch, 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 stupid fucking bitch. Bitch, bitch, bitch. I love you, bitchy Tron.
I had the FBI visit me one time because somebody forwarded them a clip saying I was going to blow up a school or something. It was like heavily edited out of like a League game, basically. Cops came, or FBI came to talk to me to see if I was going to blow up any schools. I said I wasn't. Second time, somebody showed up with some really old conversation I'd had relating to like underage fans at events, and they told the cops that I dealt child porn. So FBI showed up to ask me about if I had child pornography. And then the third time, somebody had sent an edited clip of me talking about like political violence with me like talking about my Glock, so it looked like I was talking about how like we need to kill Republicans and I was gonna go out and do it. So FBI came to my house to talk to me about that.
In the end, after probably 6 months of pretty bad depression, I finally told my mum, and she was like, oh my god, what the fuck. And we went to the police, and eventually after a lot of heartache, he did get prosecuted, and it was like £100 fine. He had a restraining order to not talk to me for a year, which he still did. Since then, I moved away, so he doesn't know where I live anymore, but he does continue to message people in my community and offer nudes and things like that of me.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like pretty much anyone who's active in my chat a lot will know about this and has had a message from him under different names.
With the police, how do you feel that the response was proportionate? Do you feel like they really took an interest or took you seriously?
With the stalking part of it, it felt like if he hasn't done anything to me physically, then they're not going to do anything, basically.
Police said they can't do anything because he hasn't really threatened my life. Mine is just like an annoying mosquito fly that just hates me. I've even like talked to lawyers to see what they can do, but if I wanted to do the lawyer route, I would have to pay like $20,000+.
Wow. You know, I know who he is. I have like a lot of, it's like all kind of circumstantial evidence that has made me believe that it's this person, but it's like, even though I know it's him doing it, there's literally nothing I can do. Like the only, I guess I could try to go the legal route and like keep on going to police, but even then it's like, what are they gonna do? Just send somebody out to his house to be like, hey, stop harassing this girl, which he would probably just think it was funny and laugh at, You know, right? Like he knows, oh, they're not gonna do anything besides that.
He was shutting my internet down for weeks, and I couldn't stream. And I have a kid, I've got a house, I have like real life bills to pay. You know, this isn't just like, oh, I'm in high school streaming, lol. Like, it was like having a very big impact in my life. And this guy actually reached out to me to taunt me. And when I found out what his name was, because he reached out to me on a Skype name, we did a lot of work basically, but it got to the point to where I knew all of his information. I knew where he lived. I had all the shit. I called his dad to tell his dad, like, hey, your kid needs to fuck off. This is some bullshit. His dad told me to fuck off, basically said that his kid was a good kid, he'd never do anything. And then I started to call the police. And because it's like a interstate thing, it had to be the FBI. And the first time the FBI came over, I was very blunt the entire time. I was like, oh, I do video games for a living, blah, blah. They didn't give a fuck. Second and third time I talked to the FBI, I tried to be a little bit more candid about what I did, because it seems like as soon as they figure out like what I do for work, they just don't care anymore. And my second and third conversations went absolutely nowhere anyway. After that, like, they didn't care at all.
And that was kind of scary, because you know, you watch these documentaries where nothing happens to the guy until he goes in and hurts her, like he physically does something. And that's honestly what it felt like. I was scared for a long time that he would actually like.
Oh, that part, yeah. That if you, I didn't watch true crime for like the longest time, but when I started watching true crime, that a lot of the stalker cases went exactly how she said it. Like, they didn't really stop them. They didn't really care. Like, they didn't care until like he went over there and killed her. Like that, like being in that situation and knowing that that's how law enforcement tends to like respond to that kind of thing, that must be horrifying, right? That must, like, oh my god. Imagine somebody just started sending you death threats. Like, you don't really know him, but like he's there now. Like imagine he started sending you death threats. Imagine if he started harassing you. Imagine, and again, don't imagine like a woman doing this, because, and I'm saying that not because there aren't any women stalkers, because there are women stalkers, and that's horrifying too, right? But if you're a guy, imagine having this happen with another guy, because when the people imagine crimes like this happening with them, but it's with a woman, they have a hard time wondering what's bad about it, like with sexual assault and things like that. So just in case, like, cause I can see it happening where like a guy has a hard time empathizing because he just sees a woman lusting after him, and would be like, oh my god, what's wrong with that? No, like, don't imagine a woman doing it, imagine a guy doing it to you if you're another guy. Not because women stalkers don't exist, they absolutely do, but because if you view it through that lens, you're going to have a hard time relating. You're going to have a harder time relating because people have done that and just wished they were them. Like, it's weird.
Do that?
I've given up a long time ago. I think I gave up when the police or the authorities just like said they couldn't do much, because that's who's supposed to protect us, you know? And I've also talked to Twitch and asked them if they could at least give permissions to mods to be able to delete clips, because my stalker also creates clips with weird titles as well, just to get like my attention and stuff, or spread rumors. And it really gets hurts to me sometimes because all I ever really want to do is like not upset other people, but it just seems like this random person who like I don't know him, he doesn't know me. I don't want to like do things that pisses him off, but it just feels like everything I do pisses him off.
I don't think any normal, well-adjusted, emotionally healthy human being can take this level of harassment and not have like severe detriments. I don't think that like humans' minds are designed to have like incredibly personal, scathing remarks made about you on that order of magnitude by people you've never met before every single day.
And whenever you're just like dealing with it and you're still trying to go about your normal life and like stream and everything, it can just be so much, you know, like trying to go to the police department and trying to convince them to file a police report, because even that's just like such a battle to even do. And it's like, do I even want to take the time out of my day to do this today whenever I know it's just gonna feel like a waste of time and a dead end?
Nothing came from it, so I don't ever rely on the cops for help. It seems like it's kind of like everybody's out for themselves on everything, because the police just don't give a fuck about any online shit at all.
And I really do hope that this video helps, because I also do worry and know that like this video might feel their I don't know, creepy, I don't even know the word for it, but if it will like help Twitch or open the eyes for other people, then it's worth it.
Stalking at best can be psychologically damaging, but at worst, it can be fatal. And Bianca Devins was just 17 years old when she paid the price for being an entertainer and being on the internet. In our current state, we don't have enough things in place to protect people online. And Bianca Devins made contact with one of her viewers on Discord and arranged to meet up with him. In a jealous rage, when she started spending time with another one of her viewers, he killed her in his car and posted pictures of it all over the internet. And within hours, someone was already selling t-shirts with those pictures on. Her family have been trying to remove the pictures from the internet since her death over a year ago, and it's proven impossible. And now, not only have they lost her, but Bianca's never going to have her dignity and privacy, even in death, because those pictures are up. You know, it's tragic. It's an absolutely tragic loss of life, and it could be avoided if we had more safety things in place, if we had more things in place to protect those who provide content online.
But yeah, you get the gist. Stalking is unfortunately the industry standard. You'd be hard pressed to find a streamer that hasn't had to deal with a stalker, unfortunately. Especially a larger streamer. So unfortunately there's that. And then there are like far worse forms. Well, I guess I won't, maybe that's not the right choice of words. There are blatantly sinister forms of harassment that viewers have done to them. Like what Destiny said in that video, it's what Destiny described having the FBI show up because of a fake tip is called swatting. So they lie to and they lie and say that some shit's about to go down, and then they go guns blazing. And then they barge into the house, guns blazing, because they think like there's a dangerous situation going on, and it's a whole thing. I recall Cutie Cinderella talking more about this more.
It's time for me to get set up for therapy, and I use this room as my office, but the desk is over here, and so
we're just just gonna skip to the part where she
Listen to-
talks about it. Growing up Mormon, Lizzie, okay, they're blowing up. Hordes of women. At most, replayed the living with dark. Oh, it's PTSD from being swatted. There we go.
Wow. And so ever since then, a car drives by our house, stomach drops. A light is outside our house, stomach drops. I hear helicopters, stomach drops. There have been times I wake up in the middle of the night, shaking Ludwig, saying, we're getting swatted, we're getting swatted. We're not.
And it's just like,
It's just PTSD. It's just nothing. It's nothing.
and it's that powerlessness, that,
Yeah, I can't
that
do
feeling that
anything.
it could happen at any moment, and that just
maybe
some
it's at
random
the Horrors of Stream.
And then
while you're
over-
live, they get to see the reaction.
Yeah. And so what happens is
Oh, okay, it actually starts here, my bad.
Moment when you're streaming where you're like, this could be my full-time thing now. Like, I could drop everything else and just go 100% into this.
no.
Not even at this point?
No. I think it's only a matter of time before I quit because I've lost my mind.
So you foresee a future where you are not doing this, and not because of choice, but because you lost your mind?
Yeah. My therapist even has said, she's like, I have never seen an industry more trauma-inducing than this one. We've been swatted, and I've had some pretty traumatic things happen in my life, and I've luckily, up until now, hadn't developed any sort of PTSD, but I have diagnosed PTSD from us getting swatted.
Can you explain what actually happens when you get swatted? So people hear, oh, the SWAT team shows up at your door, and then they just start, they break down the door and start screaming at you.
Yeah. What happens is it's a viewer of some kind that wants to prank the streamer. This used to be just like they would send pizzas to your house or something,
Yeah.
And then
while you're live, they get to see the reaction.
Yeah. And so what happens is a viewer will call the police. They will fake a threat of some kind. They'll have gotten the streamer's address. They fake a threat. They usually say they're holding someone hostage or they have a bomb or.
Do you know what they said about you?
Yes, they said they shot their mom with a shotgun, and they were going to shoot everyone else in the house. What's crazy is you would think, because you watch all these shows on TV, you'd think they would like track the phone call.
Yeah.
To see if it's in the house that they're calling from. They don't do that.
Can they?
I would think. I don't know. The TV says they can.
Hey, SWAT team, I know you're big fans of the show. Just leave a comment below. Let us know if you can.
Can you guys track the phone call, please?
If you can, you should.
Please, yeah. And so I'm about to start my stream. I'm pushing the space bar. I remember it's so vivid. I'm pushing the space bar on my computer to get it to turn on, and I see a laser on my hand. And I think to myself, is that like someone playing with a cat toy? Because we have roommates, I'm like, maybe one of them's playing with the cats. And that's my first thought. I'm like, cat toy, what the heck? And I turn, and now it's on my stomach. And I'm like, what? And then I look up, like literally like this, and we have a big window in front of our kitchen. And that's when I see it, like just all of these lights, and all I see are lights, all I see are guns. And I hear the intercom, is LAPD, come out with your hands up. And the world went silent for a few seconds. Like, I literally thought to myself, I'm dying. Like, this is a sniper rifle on my stomach.
Yeah. And you know it's loaded. You know that they can.
Someone sneezes, you're dead.
Yeah.
You are dead. And so Ludwig is downstairs streaming, and I am frozen. It felt like if you've ever had sleep paralysis, it's sleep paralysis in real life. Like, I'm frozen. So finally, when I have a second to move, I go, and all of our roommates, they had some friends over there playing Smash. And so I'm like, guys, like, turn it off. And they laugh at me. They think I'm like being like, like, turn off the game, Yeah. They're like, ah. And I'm like, no, turn it off. We're getting swatted. Because you like know what swatting is. It's just never happened to you. And they're like, oh. And so they turn it off, and I open the door, and I'm like, I can reason with these people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I open the door. I'm like, we're YouTubers, because people don't know what streamers are.
Yeah.
I said, we're YouTubers. This is a prank. Like, I'm trying to de-escalate the situation, at least they don't care. They start yelling at you, just guns everywhere. All you can see is lights and guns. You're just blinded, and you can just see.
Holy shit.
And they yell at you, hands up. They're just yelling all sorts of different directions at you, and you think anybody flinches, and I'm dead. So they get us out one by one. They make us go in a line. Ludwig is still streaming. They're being really mean to me. They're like, stop asking, like, you need to shut up, you need to shut up. Everyone needs to get out of the house. And we're like, okay, we're calling our boyfriend. And so my roommate calls my boyfriend, and he's like, you need to end the stream, come outside. And so he ends the stream really quickly. The person remained on the phone. They see that Ludwig ended his stream, and they said, I'm coming out now, I'm going to shoot. Hoping that
they would think it was
they have a
him.
more hostile reaction. And yeah, but our other roommate Slime was also sleeping and had woken up, so him and Slime come out at the same time. But since Slime is the last one out, they think Slime is the problem. So they tackle Slime in front of all of us. They have a gun to his head. You're thinking like my friend is going to get killed in front of me. This is going to cost a lot in therapy. They leave the door open this whole time. You know, they get us all out. They have to talk to us for quite some time. By the time we get inside, the cat's gone. We can't find the cat anywhere. And so I am sobbing. I'm ballistic at this point. Like, I go out there. I said, please, my cat's gone. Can you help us look? Because they all have these big flashlights.
Yeah.
They're like, no, leave us alone. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, you did this to us. They're like, you guys need to get a new job. And that was just the first time. The worst time, the thing that has pinpointed where my PTSD comes from, is Ludwig had a subathon.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 30 days, 24 hours. He's live, but I'm terrified. I'm like, we're definitely gonna get swatted.
And that's going through your mind too. He
The
comes
whole
to you and
time.
says, I'm going to be doing a 30-day live stream.
Yeah.
The first thing you think of is
We just got
30
swatted
days,
a few weeks ago. It's gonna happen. It's
30 days of
on edge.
being afraid.
Yeah, on being terrified. So every single night you would see him go to sleep on stream, I would be awake. I was awake every single night, staring out the window, the whole night, the entire night. The people think I'm lying. No, I would not go to sleep until I saw him wake up. Everyone in the house, I love those boys, but they sleep like rocks.
Are you getting
essentially.
any sleep?
I'm sleeping during the day, and it's a little bit. I'm not doing well. And then finally, it is Easter morning, and it is 4:30 in the morning, and I'm on day 27. I'm exhausted. I'm like, you know what? I can go to sleep. The one time I wake up 5 a.m. to the lights were so bright through my bathroom window, they lit up my entire room. And again, it's that sleep paralysis. I'm frozen in my bed. And I just hear them, this LAPD, come out with your hands up, and you're like, like just, and every single time you walk out there, you think, someone flinches, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many guns every single time. They do not do less guns. And so I'm the only one that wakes up, of course. And so I have to go wake up all the roommates, and I walk past a window, and they go berserk on the megaphone. They're like, come on, we're gonna shoot, go out right now. So I have to crawl. I drop down, I have to crawl to pass the window. I get up, my other roommate just woke up, and I'm like, hey, will you go wake up Slime? I'll go wake up Nick. I go and I shake Nick. I go get Ludwig. I walk into his stream room. I turn off his stream. That's what I do because he's sleeping. He's a subathon. So I just walk in as casually as I can. I just turn off the stream. We go out there, do the whole thing again, and it's the third time they've been here. And some of them are the exact same cops. And they don't think to call us beforehand. They don't think anything, you know. And it's just like, it's just so dark and awful. And then we get inside, you know, Ludwig goes back to his stream. We have to pretend like it's normal. Okay, you can either talk about it and say, hey, we got swatted, this isn't okay, and that person wins. They're validated. They've collected
That's what they want.
That's what they want. Or you don't talk about it, and they don't know if they did it, and so they keep doing it.
Oh.
But you do talk about it, copycats.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it, people keep trying. You know, so it's
Yeah.
this weird, you don't know the right thing. And so at this point in our career, we're not talking about it. And so Ludwig, as soon as he can, goes back on his subathon. I'm with him, and it's Easter, and I have this Easter basket which I made for him, and I was like, sorry, I was trying to surprise him with the Easter basket. I hit the wrong cord. Sorry. And like my face is all puffy because I've just been sobbing and having a panic attack and whatever. And that gets posted on LSF when I ended the stream. Live stream fails. It's a Reddit that is the worst, of course. And it's a hate thread about Cutie Cinderella is such a jealous girlfriend. She turned off his stream because she needs attention. She's such an attention whore. Like, because they don't know we got swatted.
Yeah.
They think I just went in there and turned off his stream because I'm a bitch. Because of course.
What, you want to ruin his streak or something?
Of course. You know, because that's the only thing that could be going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Exactly. So the right after, you know, I go through this traumatic thing, I now get a hate thread about me. And it's like, wow. And so ever since then, a car drives by our house, stomach drops. A light is outside our house, stomach drops. I hear helicopters, stomach drops. There have been times I wake up in the middle of the night, shaking Ludwig, saying, we're getting swatted, we're getting swatted. We're not.
And it's just like...
It's just PTSD. It's just nothing. It's nothing.
And it's that powerlessness, that,
Yeah, I can't
that
do
feeling that
anything.
it could happen at any moment, and that just some random person changed the entire course of your mental health
Yeah.
and you in many ways.
People don't think about it. They think like, oh, this is a funny prank. No, people have
Yeah.
died from getting swatted.
Yeah.
The amount of trauma that you're creating from this prank it's not simple. It's not haha funny. It's miserable. You're changing people's lives as they know it. Like, I don't know when I will be the same. I don't know when I will be able to sleep through the night. I don't. And the option is quit your job, move, do this. And it's like, wow, how can you live with yourself and do something like that? Because haha funny. I don't know. And that's just what happens in this industry. There needs to be something in place, because there are things in place for Britney Spears. Oh, we got a call for Britney Spears' house again. You know, but we are micro niche internet celebrities, but we are who this is happening to most.
You kind of have the downsides of a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know, you have people trying
We're
to
not even a millionaire.
trying to swat you and all that stuff, but without some of the upsides, like having so much money that you could afford your own personal security,
Exactly.
or the proper measures to be put into place so you don't have to be the one watching over your house every single night because you're afraid that you're going to get swatted.
Yeah.
And now I feel like that PTSD is probably elevated because you put in 27 night shifts in, and then the one time that you decide that you're going to
Mhm.
take a break because it's probably fine is when that kind of thing happens. So
Yeah.
now in your head it's like, I have to be constantly at
Uh-huh.
full awareness. If I'm not, something bad will happen.
Well, the
again.
sad thing is I'm also diagnosed OCD. And so that pattern, because when you're OCD, you really grasp onto pattern behaviors. You live in this constant state of patterns make you calm almost. If I'm afraid of flying. At one point, I had 72 things I had to do before I would get on a plane. I had to have my sewing kit, I had to have my mismatched socks, I had to have a button in my bag, I have a purple string that I had to have tied around, I had to wear a certain jacket, I have to wear I've gotten that down to 8 with lots of therapy, but I have to have mismatched socks, I have to, all these things. I thrive off of patterns. And so when
Yeah.
something bad happens, when I should have been doing my pattern, that's a whole other mess.
Right.
So yeah, it is. So even subconsciously now, I have insomnia. I don't sleep. And that makes mental health issues, depression, anxiety even worse. I have never been more depressed in my entire life. And I've dealt with my mother dying. I've dealt with I've had horrible things happen than this past year. And I genuinely believe it's the repercussions from my PTSD of not being able to sleep, not being able to,
Absolutely.
and all of that on top of it. And it's so
But yeah. So, yeah, that's really common, unfortunately, where people think that's like a funny thing to do, but it's actually it's actually not. It's quite deadly, and quite frankly, that should be that should be seen under the law as attempted murder, because let's be real, it kind of is. Like, whether you realize it or not, because, like, poison made with good intentions will leave you just as dead, right? But, so even if you were hoping for a laugh, you don't do that by trying to kill someone, right? And, yeah. But that's a really common experience, and, like, that on top of, like, being stalked and, like, all around being treated poorly makes streaming, like, it seems like streaming is not only, like, taxing, it's actually downright dangerous. They're actually risking their lives just to make you laugh. Oh, and I just got reminded, one more thing on that. One more thing on that. I believe Amaranth, well, she had a stalker, but, like, she actually had an arson attempt. Like, she got swatted too, but, like, hold on.
I've been swatted so much.
Oh, she talks about swatting too. Interesting.
I have diagnosed.
I've been swatted so much.
I have diagnosed diagnosed PTSD from us getting swatted. I'm about to start my stream. I'm pushing the spacebar on my computer to get it to turn on.
I've been swatted so much at this point where the cops, they don't even have their guns out anymore. And I tell them, look at my stream too. If I'm online, that I'm not dead, right? And they're still obligated to come by.
How often are you getting swatted?
A few times a month, typically. At this point, I feel like I should just leave a table out with cookies saying hi, like take one, please. Now that the police know that I get swatted so much, I tried to call in to report my own incident, and they were not sure if it was actually me. I've been swatted so much at this point where the cop.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Like, even if, like, that's all sorted and you get swatted so constantly, like Amaranth says, she got swatted she gets swatted a few times a month. Holy fuck. Right? Like, even if you get all that sorted, the police understand what's going on and all that, like, even... Like, if all of that, there's another layer of unsafety that if shit is actually going down and you need to call someone, they will get, like, they'll get skeptical, and the time they spend being skeptical of you could be, like, that could be life or death. Like, holy, yeah, I didn't think about that aspect of it. That's interesting. That's horrifying, actually. Let's see. Where did she, I don't, like, she talks about being arsoned. That's right, a viewer actually tried to set her house on fire. Miss Amaranth.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to some more esports talk. My name is Hunter, and thank you so much for tuning in. Amaranth is a Twitch streamer that we all know, not necessarily that we all know and love, but we definitely all know her because of her multiple different altercations with Twitch where she has gotten banned for pushing that edge just a little bit too much. Well, she does a lot of content such as hot tub streams, as well as wearing animal masks to do questionable content.
It's your turn to wear the dog mask.
I like how they censor it.
And of course, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of content that you do on Twitch, we are in support of streamers being safe. That is, streamers not being attacked by some viewers or having any sort of harassment situations. Well, Amaranth had just that happen, where she reports that yesterday late in the evening there was a fire along the side of my home originating from the area where my trash can is kept. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined, but investigators strongly suspect arson. They are reviewing surveillance footage, neighbors' surveillance footage, and possibly other videos adjacent to the area to try to catch the potential suspect. This is not the first time something like this has happened. In 2020, someone tried to shoot fireworks at my house under the guise of July 4th festivities. Said person was intercepted before he could actually do the act and arrested. I also get the garden variety of swatting on a weekly basis, but I have a good working relationship with local law enforcement. If you're a streamer, I cannot stress this enough. Be proactive, talk to them, they won't understand, but having a location flagged can mean all the difference in a tense standoff type situation. Literal life and death. You might want to set up a safe or password so they can, such as in my situation, know when it's a real threat and to roll in full force. I am okay, the fur babies are okay too. This sort of behavior is obviously deplorable and borderline psychotic. The fact that a viewer would go so far as to physically endanger someone else's life is insane to me. I mean, we've seen this in a few instances, such as Dr. Disrespect a couple years ago, well, a few years ago now, having his house shot at.
But isn't that crazy that Amaranth has to have a safe word for them to know when a threat is an actual threat? It happens so often. Holy fuck. But Dr. Disrespect, I didn't know this. I didn't know he had his house shot at. Uh-oh.
Shot at.
Man! Just not finishing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta fucking end I've got to end the broadcast right now. Someone shot at our house, broke the fucking upstairs window. This is the second shot. Someone shot yesterday at our fucking house. And someone shot again right now and connected with the house upstairs, right? You're driving by, right?
And of course, swatting is its own issue. We cover many streamers dealing with that on a weekly basis, where they will call the police and tell them to go to that streamer's house and endanger their life, saying that they are a dangerous person on the property. So we see this in a lot of instances. It is awful. I feel bad that Amaranth had to go through this and that she continuously deals with it. I mean, the fact that you would go so far and have such a parasocial relationship with a streamer that you would light their house on fire. And I don't know what the reason is. Obviously, none of us know if they are doing it out of spite or what the situation was. But of course, we are glad that Amaranth is okay and that everyone involved, her fur babies, her animals, are okay as well. Let me know.
I didn't know Dr. Disrespect had his house shot at. Like, alright. Completely unrelated notes. Like, completely unrelated notes. I have to say, even though I knew what he wear was a wig, I get that. Him coming out and going back in with his real hair, was like telling me that Santa isn't real. I just had to say it. But that's a completely unrelated note. But I just had to say it. I'm sorry. He looks nice though. I like his real hair. But but yeah, that's really shitty that happened to him. Oh my god, that must have been horrifying. That must have been horrifying. Holy fuck. But yeah, it's like stalking, swatting, other crimes like this, like having your house shot at, having an arson attempt. Like, for fuck's sakes, a YouTuber had his house firebombed, not too long ago. Like, wow. Like, it's really dangerous to be an entertainer, and yeah. Like, yeah, it's really dangerous. It's like, this would go well beyond hard, wouldn't it? It would be fucking, it's deadly. It's a deadly job. And they get blamed for it. They're just like, just get a different job, forehead, and that shouldn't be a risk to being an entertaining person, right? Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's not only hard, it's deadly. Streaming is a deadly job. Clearly. So yeah. But yeah. So when somebody says that So even if Hassan or anyone that did have the audacity to be like, streaming's a hard job, I think they should just be allowed to say it. I'm sorry, like, hard is sugarcoating the difficulty level of their job. Let's be honest. Like, I've worked my fair share of 9 to 5s. I've worked longer than that. I've done manual labor. I've done fast food. I've cared for elderly people. And I've worked 12-hour shifts. And I feel like if somebody said that streaming is harder than all of that, I wouldn't be offended. Honestly. And yeah, I'm saying as a person who's done all those kinds of jobs, if streaming is a hard job, they should be allowed to say it. Even if we wish we were them. Because that's the root of the issue, isn't it? It's that we wish we were them. Like, from our perspective, they just sit down and play games for a few hours and leave. Like, what a dream, right? Like, of course there's all these, like, side implications, like, getting sponsorships and getting, like, posting on your socials, making posts to post on your socials, which could take several hours, like doing all these things so that they can keep having a job where they can go in and play video games for a few hours and leave. So of course there's all that, but like generally from our perspective, it seems like the dream, right? It seems like the coolest thing ever. It seems like the easiest thing ever, but like actually streaming is really dangerous. Like, imagine if somebody threatened your life because you went out into the street and juggled. That's like, imagine if somebody tried to burn your house down because you went to like a bar to be a comedian for a night, you know? Imagine you were a comedian and you did a show and as a result somebody tried to burn your house down, right? Imagine if you went to college and like you were the class clown and as a result somebody started shooting at your house. Like, all that is horrifying, isn't it? And as such, I'm just saying, like, even if, like, that's not what Hassan said there, but I think even if he was saying, hey, streaming's kind of really fucking hard, even if he did say that, he should be allowed to. Because, let's be honest, he would be sugarcoating it by just calling it hard. Like, calling it hard is sugarcoating it. Like, oh my god. But yeah. Like, that is my conclusion. Like, I know we had all these other things to go through, but honestly, I think I've seen enough. And if, like, honestly, like, there are even compilations of streamers getting harassed live for a start. And yeah, I think I've seen enough, quite frankly. Like, why streamers should be obligated to act like they have the easiest job in the whole world. Like, why they should be able to do that is... Why they should have to do that is beyond me. Like, why? Just because we're envious of them? Like, we need to, quite frankly, fuck off, right? Like, we quite frankly need to fuck off. Their job is hard, to put it very lightly, and they should be allowed to say that. Yeah. Like, Jesus. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next time. Sorry for being MIA. I had a lot of, struggling throughout the day, but I'm okay. I am okay. It's just like, I wasn't, like, feel good enough to stream, okay? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. But yeah.